beds that are like the memory foamy beds, it's a game changer. I don't have that, but I'm just telling you, it's a game changer. Awesome.
I don't. So after losing the weight, I might go back to memory foam. But when you're fat, memory foam remembers.
Fair point.
So yeah.
So my biggest dilemma. It's a first world
I want amnesia foam. I want every day to be a new mattress.
So I have a queen size bed, which is plenty for me. But if I get a new bed, and more importantly, some of these beds you don't need a box spring,
Right.
because the mattresses are. So if I get a new one, do I want a queen, or do I want to treat myself to a king size bed?
Why in the
And just
world
have a
would you
king.
want a king size bed though?
Because it's a king size bed. Just asking questions here. Just
I would
asking
base it
questions.
off of the size of your room.
So the room is a queen size bed.
Yeah. Yep. 4065 Florida Boulevard. Go see him.
I would like a mattress that doesn't require a box spring. That is what I would like. That is important. If I can fix the bed frame I have, the bed frame, some of the lower parts of the bed frame, the arches are it's fixable. It's just, it's actually my box spring that is the issue. It's not my bed. It's the box spring. The box spring has wooden things that are coming down,
Yeah.
which is not good for my back.
We have a box spring under our mattress, but it's basically there just for the height.
I'm okay getting rid of the height. Height's overrated.
Ooh. I need to go out to Lobear's today. Put some money down on tomorrow's games. Make Thanksgiving that much more interesting. Gotcha.
So you don't want any LRN cuts for today's show?
No, not really.
You can do a Dick Spoon boots today. Get my race gear.
Race gear?
So when you do a race, as you may or may not know,
Shoes.
no, you have to get your packet, your registry, your number, and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You can do it day of, but you.
Yes. Okay. I didn't know that's what you meant, race gear. Thought you meant like.
Shoes? No, I
Yes.
go to varsity, so that's
That's the
There's
same.
no brainer. Only thing I do need is I need some leggings. It's gonna be cold.
Yeah.
High today is 73.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it's going to be
75.
75, and then Thursday, I mean, Friday it's going to be 60, 40.
606, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Jake producing. We call it Mornings with Brian Haldane, and we are off and running on this last day before Thanksgiving, the last day before 53.4 million people are expected to hit the road for a little holiday travel. The last day before every driver on the road hits the gas station and says, I thought prices were supposed to go down. The last day before you fill yourself up with a ridiculous bird that we only eat one day a year. Some of us two. Some of us, well, some of us just can't help ourselves. What's happening, y'all? Getting ready for a Wednesday show. Attorney Franz Borghardt is going to be on with us in just a little while. We're going to talk a little Thanksgiving food. Franz is going to hop on board about 10 minutes early to talk a little bit about those Thanksgiving go-tos. We've also got a number of topics to cover in Legally Served. The Ahmaud Arbery case is going to the jury. And there's a judge in Baton Rouge who could say little more than, my bad, for just forgiving someone's bond, and then, lo and behold, they're back in prison for another crime not long after that. We'll talk about that. Also, debts will be paid. Debts will be paid in today's Legally Served. I shouldn't say debts. I should say a bet. A bet will be paid off. That's coming up at 6:35. In our 7 o'clock hour, let's talk supply chain issues. Let's talk inflation. Let's talk revenge shopping. What the H is revenge shopping? Dan Rice, marketing professor at LSU, is going to hop on the hotline at 7:15 to talk about that. Congressman Garret Graves is expected at 7:35 for D.C. Current. Get caught up on everything that was going on at the state capitol leading up to Thanksgiving before they went home. In our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to dive into a little bit of Small Business Saturday with Dawn McVea from the National Federation for Independent Business. Just how important is a Small Business Saturday this year, especially when you look at the problems that we've seen when it comes to finding people for jobs and finding jobs for people, especially on a local basis. We talked with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber about this a good bit yesterday. Unemployment is back to pre-pandemic levels, but the number of jobs that are actually filled is not where it needs to be. As it stands right now, this is amazing. As it stands right now, there are 17,000 jobs available in Baton Rouge, there are 17,000 unemployed in Baton Rouge and 20,000 jobs available. Now, not a whole lot of that is retail. Not a whole lot of that is going to apply to Small Business Saturday, but some of it does. And what effects can that have on the rest of the market? We'll talk with Dawn McVea at 8:15. 8:35, really looking forward to this. Every year on Black Friday, the folks at Ruffino's do a gift card sale, a pretty ridiculous gift card sale, where basically if you buy a $100 gift card, I believe you get 50 for free. It's crazy. Anyway, that will be going on again this year. I want to talk about the holiday season overall from a restaurant perspective. Megan Klock from Ruffino's going to hop on board at 8:40 this morning to do exactly that. Let's talk about the restaurant world right now. Staffing's been an issue everywhere else because of the pandemic. What about in the restaurant world? What about especially at a place like Ruffino's, where the atmosphere and the level of service are just through the roof? We'll dive in with Megan at 8:40. Plus, we'll have a couple of Thanksgiving topics throughout. We will have top stories and trending. We will have the outside in. Jake will have this day in history. A couple of interesting stories that happened on this day in history. Looking forward to that. All right, that is where we're at to start the morning off. And yes, it is the last day before Thanksgiving. So hop on the YouTube stream if you're not at work. Well, if you are at work, if you are going to work today, then when you get to work, hop on the YouTube stream. I want feedback. I want to know what your Thanksgiving traditions are. I want to know outside. Well, let's do the traditionals, right? Let's run through the foods. Let's run through what's on the plate, what's on the table, what's on the plate. What are your go-tos? What are your absolutely nots on Thanksgiving Day? But also outside of that, does your family do any kind of Thanksgiving tradition that is outside of just the eating? I remember growing up, we used to go out in the yard and play touch football with my cousins. I don't think we've carried that on. I would like to know your Thanksgiving traditions. What do y'all do outside of just the Yeah, everybody watches football. We get that. But you eat, and what else? Let us know on our YouTube stream. The live chat is open right now. Mornings with Brian Haldane on YouTube. It's available right now. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, a little more from Ed Orgeron's press conference, as Saturday is not just going to be any other Saturday. What does this final game mean, and how does it translate to the overall program? We'll dive into some more audio from Ed Orgeron coming up in just a little bit. Before we take that break, though, got to remind you about the folks over at Mathers. Got some last-minute shopping to do before you hit up your Thanksgiving plans? Got some last-minute groceries you got to get? Making that sweet potato pie and ran out of sweet potatoes? Mathers can help you out. 2 locations, downtown on 3rd Street. How convenient is that, by the way? If you are still working today and you're downtown, you can hit them up before leaving to go back home again, before hitting that Wednesday afternoon traffic. You can go hit up Mathers. In fact, if you download the Mathers app, you can do your shopping before you even leave work. Leave work, pull in the parking lot, boom, they bring it out to you, easy peasy. Same is true over on campus. Same is true on Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive, in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center right across the street from Tiger Stadium. Get your last-minute Thanksgiving groceries knocked out at either location of Mathers. Okay. Yes, what were the 3 that we didn't get to yesterday? Do you remember? Selling LSU to current players. We'll do selling LSU to current players. Do his players want to play? That was one you said? Players wanting to win. We'll do that one. I think we did that one, but let's do that one again. It's going to go selling LSU to current players, players wanting to win for him, coach a bowl game, and then Austin Deculus. What was the... No. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Michelle made that. Yeah. Yeah, she sent me a script. I gave her the dry read, and good to go. Oh, man. 616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. The last round of Jimbo versus O. Ed Ogeron, Jimbo Fisher. More to the point, LSU versus Texas A&M. Saturday in Tiger Stadium. 6 p.m. is your kickoff. 1 p.m. our coverage begins on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Let's dial you back to Monday's press conference with Coach O. And actually, this has been a weird spot. Having the coach remain the coach for the rest of the season, even though he was fired a few weeks ago. First and foremost, this is a big recruiting time. With the early signing period, it has changed everything. It is a time for recruiting, not just among high school players trying to get guys who have already committed to stay committed, but the transfer portal is a very active thing, and trying to keep guys around is tough, especially when you recruited them based off of the culture that you created. How do you go about selling LSU, not just to recruits, but to current players?
You came to LSU, stay committed. It's a great school for you. Mickey Joseph and a couple of the other coaches took out all the freshmen, took them out to eat, and they had a nice dinner with them because they were kind of like, what should we do? Everyone said, stay here. You made a decision to be here. They're going to hire a great man here. You're going to be in great shape, and we have sold LSU as much as we can.
We learned the news the other day about Elias Ricks moving on. There will be a few others, I'm sure. There's bound to be a few others. But that's the sort of attrition you expect when you make a move like this. And you're making a move like this not just for any 1 year's recruiting class, but for the program as a whole. There's going to be attrition. Now, as for the players who are still there, clearly their commitment is there. Clearly they've got a want to win, and a want to win not just for Ed Ogeron, but for themselves. They've got their own resumes and their own careers to worry about as well, if they want to move on to the next level. So the guys who are still in it, they've got to be in it to win it, right?
Well, I appreciate that. I love those boys. They know that. But I want them to play for them. I want them to win for the Tigers, and it's never been about me. I've been in a great situation here the whole time, and I want them to win for themselves. This is about them.
One of the things we looked at yesterday when playing back some of the audio was whether or not Coach Ogeron would coach in a bowl game. I want to revisit that answer one more time because it's still kind of up in the air.
I'm going to talk to the administration. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have it. I want to be on the same page. I want to leave here, make sure everybody's clear. When I do leave, I did the utmost I could for the LSU Tigers. And if we do go to the bowl, I need to talk to the administration. We need to have a conversation to see what's best for the football team.
It's remarkable the difference between what a 40-plus-year-old fan thinks about playing in, I don't know, the Liberty Bowl versus what a 22-year-old college senior would think about playing in the Liberty Bowl. And honestly, I'd be that 40-plus-year-old fan, right? I don't care what my take is on it. I only care about those guys who have a limited number of times to put on that jersey. Or the students that would travel only have a limited number of times to make the roadie. Memphis is a pretty decent spot if it matches up that way. All right, here comes the Fox Business Report. We're talking Thanksgiving next. What time did you say Mooyah was? Okay. I'll do it on the way back in here.
Do we want to do Austin Davis' last game or no?
No.
No.
I don't have a good side.
I also don't know if I'm going to be endorsing Mathern's.
Do what?
Brian's job to endorse Mathern's. I'm not sure if I want to endorse Mathern's.
Yeah, the folks over at Matherns are going to be busy today. This is a big, big day.
I have to get some chicken and sausage this morning, or this afternoon.
Okay.
It's the only reason I have to go into the grocery store, and I am not looking forward to it.
I would highly recommend Matherns downtown for you because, it's not going to be overrun before noon.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Okay, closest grocery store to your house is
Right.
that's going to be a madhouse. Think about it. No, who's buying chicken and sausage on 3rd Street right now? That made it sound
What
like
time
it's
does
gonna,
What time does Matherns open up?
7?
Oh, 7. My pharmacy.
Oh, the real question about Axe. Have you told Mark Vincent?
Not yet.
Okay. I mean, as hard as he was selling.
I want to go.
I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. You just know. You know how it is with all in. With all in, Vincent.
Kelly sounded genuinely like.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
623 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. All right, last day before Thanksgiving means nobody wants to cook for today, right? We're going to dive into some Thanksgiving food topics in just a second with attorney Franz Borghardt before we even open up our Legally Served segment. But nobody wants to cook today. You know, and by the way, you don't need to be cooking for today. What are you going to do? Put more leftovers in the fridge before adding Thanksgiving leftovers to it?
Jambalaya weather.
It is gumbo
And
weather.
food.
It is gumbo weather, but you don't want to make a big pot of gumbo because what are you going to do? Put it in the fridge for today when you know you're going to be adding all kinds of other leftovers
you're
tomorrow?
going somewhere with
I am going to two places with this. The first one is Segan, just north of Industrialplex, and then Blue Bonnet at Highland Road. I'm talking about McVea, burgers, fries, and shakes. Listen, today above all days, you don't want to add leftovers to the fridge, so swing by. Grab yourself a burger. Grab yourself a best case scenario. Grab yourself a hamburger dog. Hamburger dog. I will eventually learn how to actually say that. It's a hamburger and a hot dog on the same bun. Or get yourself the Indulgent Barbecue. Get yourself the Well Dunyan. The A1 burger as well. It's just, they've got a remarkable selection at McVea Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. They use top-notch ingredients, certified Angus beef, fresh cut vegetables, freshly baked potato buns, and they have the best service around. The whole experience combines to make the best burger in Baton Rouge. Segan, just north of Industrialplex, or Blue Bonnet at Highland for McVea Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. All right. Tomorrow's a big day. Everybody's got the ones they look forward to. Everybody's got the things that are on that Thanksgiving table that they're looking forward to. Want to welcome in attorney Franz Borghardt.
What's up, family?
We'll get down and dirty with some legal topics and maybe paying off a bet in our next segment.
Yeah.
Right now, though, let's look ahead to tomorrow, Franz. Okay, let's start with this. How much has the diet changed what your approach is going to be for Thanksgiving?
So there are foods I just don't get to eat anymore. I don't eat a lot of meat at all. So number one, I'm eating meat tomorrow.
Darn right you are.
I want the traditional turkey. I really only do turkey for Thanksgiving anyway.
Good. That's all you should have it for.
Shout out to All Star Catering. They're giving me a smoked turkey. And then my family's doing a little bit of fried turkey. And then I'm a big lamb guy. I like the taste of innocence.
Oh, jeez.
Like a lamb. So first and foremost, I get to eat meat. Second of all, there are dishes like for Thanksgiving that you don't eat for the rest of the year. How often do you eat dressing?
Never.
Right.
Never. But so the dressing's got a lot of bread in it.
and some Popeye's chicken. Our secret Popeye's chicken.
Ooh.
Dude, seriously.
I like how the Borghardts roll.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So my approach is it's a grazing.
Yes.
I traditionally start with an apple fritter from Mary Lee Donuts. It's
Okay.
a day of indulgence.
It is.
So that will make me sick in the morning.
Yes.
This is
I
after I
start
run.
with an apple fritter, as the Pilgrims did.
So the first thing I do at 7 o'clock, I'll be running a 5K, turkey trot. Check.
Darn right you will.
Then I'll eat the apple fritter and get sick
Okay.
because my body is not used to that much sugar and whatnot. Although yesterday I had some Elsie's plate and pie. I don't know if you
Dude,
noticed
Elsie's is such a game changer.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh.
They're like a beautiful little hidden secret.
So point being is it's a graze for me, but my favorite part are the pies that you don't get for the rest of the year. The pecan pie.
Yeah.
The pumpkin pie. I'm a big fan of pumpkin pie.
Really?
Yeah.
I see. I can't do the pumpkin pie. Pecan pie, I'm all day long.
So my mother used to make, and I've got to give a shout out to Mama Borghardt. My mom used to make the green bean casserole from Campbell's Soup.
Yep.
And if you know what I'm talking about, you know.
Yeah.
I only get that at Thanksgiving.
But okay, so that's when I talk about what are the ones you just can't do. I can't do the green bean casserole with the cream of mushroom and on what are the
Y'all do
fried
that
onions on
broccoli
top.
cheese rice. That's another staple.
Broccoli cheese is good. Broccoli cheese is good. I'm a big sweet potato guy.
So I lobbied hard this year for potatoes au gratin.
Okay.
That was not almost. So I don't do any of the cooking. So the hens, the mama bears of the family go, what do you want? What any special requests? Another one, roasted beets with goat cheese and walnuts.
Roasted
But I can't
beets
get that.
with
I
goat
really
cheese
can-
and walnuts.
I really can have that whenever I want. That's a veggie.
Okay.
So yeah, it is going to be so understand with this diet, with this massive weight loss, with the Fat Boy 50 poundage to the side, with this massive weight loss, I'm gonna get sick.
Oh yeah.
There's no eat a little meat, I'm gonna get sick. And so what's funny is that balance, because Thanksgiving for me now, the real change is it's about balance.
Yeah.
It's what can I eat and be reasonably uncomfortable, and what am I going to eat to make me the next level of uncomfortable?
Right. See, and that's because this is where you and I are very similar to this, because it used to be I'm just full on Augustus glute.
Yeah.
Full on, eat until I have to be rolled out of the room.
Yeah.
Just roll me in front of the television. I will drift in and out of a turkey coma while watching the Detroit Lions get destroyed.
So sister-in-law makes a Thanksgiving egg roll with Thanksgiving
Oh,
flavors
is this the
inside
one with
of it.
the shredded turkey and then the stuffing? Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Sheridan Faye.
Yeah.
She does a fantastic one. My favorite part about Thanksgiving, though, is legitimately the next morning or the next day, the sandwiches you get to make. Using the leftover meat, using the leftover goodies. Those sandwiches, honey baked ham. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, big time. Now, we got 60 seconds till break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the Legally Served segment. 60 seconds till break. If you had the option to remove turkey as the staple for Thanksgiving and replace it with something like, I don't know, ribeye, something very, very good. Like if you could remove
Prime
turkey.
rib. Prime rib.
Okay, let's go prime rib. Would you actually remove turkey and replace it with prime rib? Or does turkey belong on Thanksgiving and nowhere else?
I believe that turkey belongs at Thanksgiving and nowhere else. And in fact, when I see a turkey at Christmas, I get a little.
It's a growing sentiment, my friend.
Yeah, I'm like, nah,
the Haldanes are very anti-turkey for Thanksgiving.
anti-turkey.
Not for Thanksgiving, for Christmas.
For other things.
Yeah.
It is so. It's the American Pilgrim way.
Yes.
Take from the Indians, eat turkey for Thanksgiving.
That's not.
Thankful. I'm thankful.
Why do you have to ruin that? We were doing so well. All right, we got to check news, traffic, weather. When we come back, we're talking Ahmaud Arbery case is in the jury's hands, and let's talk bonds and Fat Boy 50 next. Boop, 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 boop. Canned cream of mushroom soup makes me sad to think about. I mean, there's really no reason to make your own cream of mushroom soup to pour over green beans and then put the fried onions on top of it. Do you Form a turkey shape with your potatoes on Thanksgiving. By the way, good morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart, and good morning to everybody else who's on the YouTuberies this morning. Oh man. Oh. Can we please get over the idea that this tap into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is a good idea? Gas prices go up by more than $1, and we're all going to get excited when they drop by a dime. And they're not going to drop by a dime in time for us to go to Nana's house.
You know,
What?
I've got some theories about the justice system we're going to talk about today.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I printed you a couple copies if you wanted. I probably should have given you those earlier.
13-day trial. I read this article. We've talked a little bit about this, haven't we? About the GPS tracking devices and how they don't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you don't look at them and. So my thought is, and this is what I wrote down, we are very good at making people and things these days into things that they're not. Like, you're the poster child for this. You're a villain. You're a hero. When at sometimes you're neither. Rittenhouse, he wasn't a hero. He wasn't a villain.
You're setting up for a Batman quote. I feel it.
No.
You either die a hero.
Sometimes being a hero means
You either die a hero
what's
or
the
you
line?
live.
It's he's doing the bigger thing. He's
Yeah.
not being a hero. God, I'm so ready to wear that belt. Can I just wear the belt right now? I mean, it's. Or do you want the pomp and circle? We got to take a photo with it. We got to.
Yeah.
I mean. I got shout out to Patrick Fellows and Varsity for helping make that possible. Dr.
What?
Gunjarena. The belt.
Oh.
Dude, that apple pie yesterday. Oh my God. I just wanted hot apple pie.
All right. We're going to do the last 5 minutes of the segment. This from 6:55 to 7 will be the belt. Unless you want to lead off with it.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I'm here.
I just don't know what we'll be able to
I'm
get
here
back
the
on.
entire segment.
Will we be able to get back on track afterwards if we start off track? I'll tell you what.
VR mattress, 46.
BR mattress win?
46.
Okay. All right. Hey, I just sent you an email with a YouTube link. Okay. You might want to make sure there's no pre-roll in front of it, but I'm going to want that for presenting the belt.
You got music?
Uh-huh.
Thoughts and prayers to my boy Hulk Hogan. He's not doing too well right now. I'm worried.
Oh, good old Terry's not doing well?
The Hulkster. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins.
Yup.
Hulk Hogan loves you.
Sit on lots of needles.
Oh, come on, man.
Byron says, Franz, do you form a turkey shape with your potatoes?
This mountain means something. Close Encounters. I gotta tell you, Byron's pretty uppity about his Thanksgiving, man. Make your own stuff from scratch. Who's got time for that,
Making
dude?
cream of mushroom soup. It's the green beans. That gets the least amount of attention. No, we're gonna have to skip it on YouTube. I don't want to get bumped. I feel like it should be on YouTube.
Never mind.
He doesn't know how.
I was gonna say it was on Go Slim a second ago.
Oh. Well, yeah, it rotates.
Are you going to hit this segment or the next one?
Next one. We'll come back in from Your Money Now with it. And then we'll try to get back on track. Time for Legally Served. Time to welcome in Attorney Franz Borghardt. Well, we welcomed you in the last segment to talk Thanksgiving food, but welcome in, sir.
Good morning, guys.
All right.
Good morning, YouTube Live family, Radio Land.
Just to set the table, if I can make a Thanksgiving pun.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Just to set the table, after we break for Your Money Now in traffic, when we come back, the bet will be paid off. I have it right here.
It's been about a year.
No,
it's about 6 months.
it's been a little bit less than that.
I mean, it's been so long that we're about to start another competition after the holidays.
Well, I can't start another competition, not a weight loss competition, because I haven't put anything back on.
True.
So, I mean, what am I, like Kate Moss?
I think
Is that a dated
I
reference?
think heroin chic would look great on you, Brian Haldane.
What?
Heroin chic.
We got a couple of legal topics to talk about. Do you want to start with the Judge Ebony Johnson Rose, or do you want to start with the Ahmaud Arbery?
It's wherever you want to start.
All right, I think there's more conversation to be had from Arbery, but
I think the most important thing is I was dead on with Rittenhouse.
okay, you know what? Actually, yes, let's start there because you were dead on, and a lot of people were surprised that the thing played out the way it did. A lot of folks thought it was going to be like some kind of hedging of bets by the jury.
Mm-hmm. And now we have Arbery, and the guys being tried there. I will tell you, they're in day 2 of jury deliberation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a jurisdiction that takes more than one day to jury deliberate.
Okay, why is it? Well, let's revisit this for those who are unfamiliar. You've said before, Louisiana deliberates. Baton Rouge deliberates for like 15 minutes. I understand if Kenosha, Wisconsin takes 3 days. Why does Brunswick, Georgia?
So part of it is just cultural. Part of it is just the ability to sit and talk out things.
Mm-hmm.
Our juries here, our citizens here, tend to take care of their business in a Texas-like manner. So it's generally half a day to a full day, and then that's it.
Is it that one is more thoughtful than the other?
I cannot say that one is more thoughtful, although one might think that because you're doing more discussions and hopefully the discussions are thoughtful.
But wait, and that's the other part of this is, yeah, just because you're having more discussions doesn't mean you're actually getting somewhere.
Right. So in the fantasy world, it's 12 Angry Men, right? Where
Right.
they're actually talking and actually lobbying and vetting evidence. We don't know. We're not in the Star Chamber, you know.
It can also be Runaway Jury with John Cusack, though.
So what's interesting?
Filmed in New Orleans.
What's interesting to me is how much is race really relevant to this case in Georgia, and how much is that going to infiltrate the jury room?
Glad you brought it up.
Well, I got no dog in the hunt.
Well, no,
right?
but here's the thing, though. It's everywhere.
Right.
How much does race really involve versus how much does perception overturn
Right.
reality?
Right. So I'm in the seat of if you haven't hired, I hate to say it, I'm a mercenary. If I'm not involved in a case, I feel like I can look at both sides and formulate pros and cons. On this one, though, is it a race case? If it's not a race case, what is it really about then? Is it about vigilante justice and taking the law into your own hands? Because that's what Rittenhouse was.
No.
Sort of taking the law
Rittenhouse
into
had a
your own
gun
hands.
pointed at him.
Right. Sort of taking the law into your own hands, going into a riot situation to take care of your city, to put out the fire.
No,
I
he
can't
wasn't
even
going into a riot situation to hunt anyone down. He was going into a riot situation to put out a fire.
Well,
There's a huge difference
isn't
there.
that during a riot? Isn't that
You can have a
taken?
vigilante cop. You can't have a vigilante firefighter.
So these guys, essentially, their position is they were taking the law into their own hands, right?
They were protecting their own neighborhood.
They've doubled down on this.
Yes, but the difference here is all the difference. Rittenhouse didn't go looking for someone to arrest.
Well, did these guys?
Yes.
Did they go looking, or did they see something
and
they
follow him? All three of them, they followed him.
Well,
and then
I think that's.
you've got three big burly dudes versus one unarmed man.
I've already told you off here. I think these guys are going to get convicted.
As do I.
And I think it's the difference is, and look, the lessons to be learned here is if it's not your property, if it's not your person, I'm going to say it on the air. Don't be a hero. Don't try to be something that you are not. And
Right.
And I gotta. That may sound cowardly to some, but we're learning this in real time on a national stage.
Yes.
That if it's not your house, if it's not your person, your family, stay out of it, man. Because these guys are getting tried by media and tried by court of law.
Yes.
You know.
So, and then there's you say if it's not your house, if it's not your person, if it's not your family. I think there should also be a very definitive difference between if it's not a matter of life and death. There is no Milwaukee drill that's worth this. There's no amount of copper wire that's worth a life. And if we go back to the beginning where someone was stealing things from a construction site, right?
Again,
Then that is not worth hunting someone down. It's worth calling the cops on. If you want to follow him at a distance and keep your eyes out, do it by all means. But don't cross that threshold where, and I'll take this all the way back to George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. When you're on the phone with 911 and 911 says, no, don't cross the street, don't cross the street.
So on the one hand, the argument is I'm a citizen, this is my community, and I'm trying to protect it. On the other hand, the argument is why are you trying to be something you're not? You are not a sworn-in, licensed law enforcement officer. Why are you trying to be something you're not? Call the police.
Yeah.
Let them do their job. Now, if you're viewing things from a race standpoint, you know, what happens with the police and this young African-American, you know.
No longer your problem,
No
though.
longer your problem. And in fact, I will say the same thing I said about Rittenhouse. This is not the poster child case for self-defense, okay? Rittenhouse, gun rights activist, that was not the case for self-defense, although facts came out that supported self-defense. They would tell you, don't involve yourself. All the gun experts, all the self-defense people in the world would say, don't involve yourself in unnecessary confrontations to where you don't have to use force.
Right. Let your city burn is the other argument to that, though.
Well, that's the counter argument.
Yeah.
Let your community be the copper of your community be burglarized.
It
doesn't work, right?
No, it doesn't.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't. But there's still a difference between the two. We got to break real quick. We're going to take a break. We'll check traffic. We'll check Your Money Now. There will be a presentation on the back end of Your Money Now before we dial it back in and talk more legal matters in just a minute. Hey, got to ask you, how'd you sleep last night? Are you ready for Black Friday savings as of today? Actually, it's been going on all week long at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. If you mention you heard about it right here on Talk 107.3 FM, get Black Friday savings today. if you mention you heard about it here. Get free delivery if you mention you heard about it here, and a free pillow if you mention you heard about it here. Mitch Kimball and his team want to make sure you're sleeping well throughout the holiday season. They've got unbelievable discounts. Queen size name brand mattress normally $8.99, marked down to $3.99. Similar savings on the King, similar savings on the Twin. Visit the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 4065 Florida Boulevard, or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2 for the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet.
I met Peyton Murphy in person last Friday. He attended one of my seminars. I taught.
Yeah, he did a lot of really good stuff at the beginning of the pandemic with handing out PPEs. Is it PPEs? Or those are the loans.
Beatdowns.
No, when he was handing out masks and sanitizer.
Home invasions. Oh yeah, sorry. He was a very nice guy. He was very nice to me. That was not spiritual on my part whatsoever.
No, it wasn't.
I'm trying to be a spiritual. I'm trying to go the spiritual path.
Well, does it really serve him to have his commercial say Peyton Murphy will fight for you?
Bazinga!
Is it? I mean, phrasing.
I met his beautiful ex. Very nice lady. I could work with it. Owner of a lonely heart.
Debbie says, I don't get the green beans. Thank you, Debbie.
So, Colton, I've never been on a jury, so forgive me, but do jurors get heated debates while discussing, or is it calm and organized? And, Colton, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Both. I mean, it just depends.
So I've only been called for jury duty once, and I was promptly dismissed by Judge Trudy White.
God is my witness. I thought turkeys could fly.
That might be coming in the last segment of the show today.
That's one of the historic, iconic turkey
Okay, that's actually what the last segment of the show is going to be about today, is we don't have a lot of iconic... When Adam Sandler did the Thanksgiving song, and he said there's a whole lot of Christmas songs, not a lot of Thanksgiving songs. The same is true for television. There's a million Christmas specials, but not a whole lot of Thanksgiving stuff. WKRP has one. The West Wing has two.
Well, the truth is, Thanksgiving just isn't the same holiday as Christmas.
That's correct.
I mean, it's not celebrated on the same level.
Right.
There's no is there Thanksgiving decorations that you put up around your house? Most people have already started putting up Christmas
They're all
decorations.
autumn decorations. And oh, by the way, I blame retail for this. Because we're told on November 1st, I also blame 96.1 The River for this. We're told on November 1st, time to start playing Christmas music.
My dentist's office yesterday, shout out to Kramer Irby, was playing Christmas music, rocking around the Christmas tree while working on my teeth.
Yeah. I don't want... Oh, hit your money now. As soon as she's out, skip the... There you go. Oh!
By the way, YouTube, are Mike still on?
Yes.
By the way, YouTube, if you haven't gone to the Borghardt Law Firm Facebook page, please like it. Love to post things there. Brian generally will send me the sound recordings of the segments.
Yes.
If he remembers to do that.
If. You know where to find them if I don't.
That's a lot of clicks.
It's 3.
It's a lot of clicks.
It's 3 clicks.
Look, I just get excited when you post Go Rouge on the page. I mean, so you got a new podcast.
Yeah.
We need to have you on and talk about it.
Okay.
Just start promoting. I mean, I'm running out of fuel for 2 more episodes.
So if you're going to have me, you need to have Michelle Southern as well. The Only in Louisiana podcast is phenomenal.
Okay, we can do that.
She's so good.
Friday may be a day off for me.
Oh, good, because it's a day off for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally in December, I get to host the Haldane show at some point.
You will.
Okay.
Well, shit. I got Haggai hosting next Thursday and Friday.
All good.
All right. Well, I was under the assumption, so, or else I obviously would have asked.
What's next Thursday and Friday? Oh, yeah.
I figured.
I can come. Yeah. Well, I was supposed to be at Axe.
I know. And you weren't going to be at Axe in the morning. You wouldn't be leaving until the evening. But I figured you'd want the morning with Fisher.
Yeah.
So.
But yes, the week between Christmas and New Year's, as much as you want.
Okay. Don't forget the belt.
Are we coming back in with the song? Yeah, come back in with it.
Yeah.
You can hear it?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that song.
Back to more legal commentary in just a minute. But I do have to take a moment of personal privilege. And it's not even my privilege. It's my honor to acknowledge the man to my left, both physically and politically. At the beginning of this year, attorney Franz Borghardt and I embarked upon a journey to get fit, a journey to lose weight, a journey to adapt a healthy lifestyle. We called it the Fat Boy 50. The rules were simple. First man to lose 50 pounds wins. One rule, no surgery. We probably should have had more rules.
I did not have surgery, for the record.
That was the only rule. Neither one of us had surgery. We have both since accomplished this goal, but Franz reached the finish line first. Now, because of supply chain issues and me backing into a light pole, it has taken till the Wednesday before Thanksgiving for me to pay off my bet.
Oh, this is beautiful.
But attorney Franz Borghardt, champion of the Fat Boy 50, I give you the title belt.
If you can't see, it's a metal belt and it has my image.
You got to get on mic.
Yeah, it's my image etched into this.
I got you a picture of skinny Franz.
Yes.
On the belt.
Sadly, the belt does not fit.
Wrestling belts are meant to be worn over the shoulder.
So here's the deal. We do need to talk about some more law, but I do appreciate it. The big issue now, going back to the holiday conversation, is the ability to sustain the weight loss.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're going to be doing a new competition.
Okay.
A more equitable competition based on the current situation, state of our fitness. So, look, you want to jump into the last legal topic here?
Yeah, I do. But I do want to say, just officially for the record, I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Yes. Do we close the book on Ahmaud Arbery for now?
I think for now, well, we're going to have something to talk about when the verdict comes down.
Well, yeah.
And then they're burning Georgia down one way or another. Although we've seen little to no rioting. Where's the rioting happening?
It was fun to see the news try and convince us that there were massive protests all over the nation.
Right. There was a couple places. But honestly, wasn't a thing.
No.
Wasn't a thing.
And by the way, if you missed my conversation with Paul Violas yesterday, longtime law enforcement member, security expert Paul Violas was on the show yesterday. It's available on demand at talk1073.com. The idea that anyone should be rioting for anything in Kenosha, Wisconsin is amazing. Anyway, yes, let's move on to this other topic before we have to get out of here for the news at the top of the hour. A brand new judge who prided herself on giving suspects second chances in her online campaign videos last year unleashed an accused murderer without any unleashed. Yes, without any This is from Chris Nakamoto. And
he's a dog.
No, dogs are the only ones that have leashes.
Oh, that's awkward. I don't know how to answer that question. You watching 50 Shades of Grey? You went there.
I'm just glad you're
You tee it up. I'm gonna knock it down.
I was waiting for you to. Never mind. Okay. Unleashed an accused murderer without any monitoring requirements in July, according to WBRZ's investigative unit. Quote. Quoting from the story, it wasn't a problem for Judge Ebony Johnson-Rose until suspect Billy Pettis held a gun to his girlfriend's head and tried to choke her on November 11th, 2021. Investigators said he took things a step further on Saturday and shot out the windows of her car as two children were inside. Now, Pettis, for what it's worth, after this running amok, is back in prison with no bond this time around.
Right. Thank goodness nobody was killed.
Yes, first of all, yes, thank goodness nobody was killed. However, are we going to get to a point where we can start to avoid this?
So the problem is we don't disallow a bond in every single murder case, right? So that number one, he was given a bond amount and he made bond. The issue for a lot of people is the GPS monitoring device, right? Because there was an assertion that he couldn't afford it, and
Right. Well,
and he could afford the bond, but
so we say no one was killed, but actually in 2018 someone was, which was what had him in prison in the first
still
place.
presumed innocent on
No,
that one.
Correct, and even getting to the fact that he's 3 years later and we're still talking about.
Look, I'm not whoopee. I don't mind using the word allegedly.
Okay.
So my point is I've said several times a GPS monitoring device is not going to do anything to
Right.
stop someone from doing.
Well, he didn't even have that though. If I read the story right.
Correct. So is the problem that we need to start holding murder cases without bond, or jacking bonds up higher?
Okay, so a higher bond just means more people won't be able to afford it.
Right.
Which means that Judge Ebony Johnson Rose can just, yeah, you get to go home, and you get to go home.
Well, setting a reasonable bond isn't snapping your fingers and saying you get to go home. I mean, $150,000 or $250,000 bond, those are significant bond amounts here.
Court records show Pettis posted a $175,000 bond after he was charged in the murder of his then-girlfriend, DeDawn Bush, in 2018. In July, emails obtained by WBRZ's investigative unit showed Pettis could not afford his bond supervision, so Judge Rose relieved him of his monitor and supervision.
Right. Would the supervision and monitoring have stopped him from shooting into a car? No.
Okay, well,
Absolutely
but
not.
now you're talking about a hypothetical, though.
Well, let's just be intellectually honest, Chris, and I like Chris Nakamoto. Let's just be intellectually honest. You can do the sensational story about the judge and the bond conditions and all that, but it would not have made a difference. It wouldn't have made a difference. The GPS monitoring device doesn't electrically shock you, but going back to the dog analogy, and say, no, you can't go shoot up a car. What
Right.
it does is it tells someone, if they're monitoring you, it tells them where they are. They would not have been able to stop him from doing this unless he was in jail.
So it brings about the question of, and this is good. Oh, there's not enough time.
I can stick around.
We're going to skip top stories and trending then, because yeah, you need to stick around. We'll do one more segment after the news at the top of the hour here, because it brings up a couple questions. Number one, why not hold those accused of homicide, those accused of murder, without bond? Why not?
You can.
Number two, even if you do, though, this happened in 2018. Hiller Moore has said on this show exactly how backlogged they are.
Right.
Do you hold someone for 3 years without bond?
Part of that's the pandemic, though.
No,
Part of the-
I realize that, but the pandemic isn't. And look, don't make me take up for an accused murderer. But
Have I been hired?
3.
'Cause I will.
All right, I tell you what, we're going to check CBS World News Roundup. We're going to do an abbreviated top stories and trending, and then we're going to dive right back into it on Talk 107.3.
Can we take a photo real fast?
Yes.
Take a photo. Where's the Talk 107.3 sign?
That's over there.
Where do you want to take a photo? Sure, it's your shirt.
Well, as soon as we're in news.
I got to tell you, I don't know if you ever just look at yourself in old pictures and you're like, man, I never realized how big I was and how bad I felt.
Bro, did I show you the driver's license?
Yeah, you did, actually.
I mean, who's happy with their driver's license picture ever?
So when I do legally served in the
Sorry, go ahead.
when I do legally served in the post, do you want this next segment
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah. Bourgeois text.
When I do hour one, do you want just the first 2 legally serves in that, and that's it?
Yeah, and put the third part in hour 2. Billboard just released their top 10 greatest all-time artists. Rihanna's on the list. Mariah Carey's on the list. They've got the Beatles number 1. Oh my God.
So here's the deal. The dude that drove into a bunch of people,
Yeah.
his bond is $5 million. He has a bond.
Oh, wait.
It's just $5 million.
Let me see if I've got the story right on this one. He's the white supremacist that drove his gun into a Black Lives Matter rally. That's pretty much how my Twitter feed turned it in. What my Twitter feed turned it into. He drove his gun into a Black Lives Matter rally.
Drove his gun. He just said it.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Okay, so if you set a ridiculous bond, are you getting anything accomplished by that? Because at that point, just no bond.
Did we have a Rotary meeting today?
We do not.
Oh, that's good. Whew. I was a little worried about that.
Yeah. I've had all day to put together 4 days worth of.
Precious to me.
I was impressed with the way it came out. You never know when you're dealing with somebody online. You know?
Like escorts. Comedy. Eric H. Certain homicides, they should be held without bond.
Certain.
Yeah.
Well, like every time you say that, they don't
like
you say that-
Rittenhouse is an example of either you believe he was acting in self-defense or he wasn't.
Okay.
So is that the same kind of quote-unquote murder as the domestic violent guy that, you know?
The slap happies over in Georgia never had a gun pointed at them. They killed an unarmed man.
They're out. Are they out or are they in jail?
I don't care.
You should. It's part of the conversation.
Oh, shit.
Oh, goodness.
I'm done, dude. I got real topics to talk about today, and I have no motivation.
Well, it is a holiday. Do you have any other recording stuff you have to do after the show today? Or are you done?
Oh, God, yes.
What do you have to do today?
I have to upload CBS's Thanksgiving special. I have to put together a best of for Friday, which is going to include this segment, all three chunks. And then
I'm sorry. If you're listening, I'm sorry.
No, it's fun.
Like a dog on a leash.
Ah! Hey, big dog.
Stop.
Woof.
Stop.
What? Coming to America. Come on. Hey, give me like 60 seconds just to have him play the intro so we knock out the sponsor, and I'm just going to do the trending story.
I don't care, dude. It's your show.
Okay.
Number 5.
Let's see. We're going to do... Yeah. We're going to count them all down, and the truth is I'm only going to do number 1 and the trending. Yeah. No, hit number 5. Just trust me, follow my lead. Okay. .706, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Attorney Franz Borghardt sticking around for a bonus legally served segment, but we do have to tend to business. We have top stories and trending that happens in this segment right now. Hit it. Don't care, it's almost Thanksgiving. Don't care, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Don't care, we got to worry about Thanksgiving. Black Friday's 2 days from now. A former University of Alabama student who made a bomb threat about Tiger Stadium in 2019 had charges against him dropped this past week. Former Bama student Connor Kroll, 21 years old, was arrested in Tuscaloosa after making a bomb threat about Tiger Stadium during LSU's, doing this off of memory, 42-28 win over Florida on October 12th of 2019. Oh, remember that? Tigers were down 28-21 and then just turned it on. Burrow went for, I don't know, I'm going to say 300 yards? I don't know. Anyway, according to the Advocate, Kroll said he paid $2,040 in restitution to the LSU Police Department and completed an intervention program and promises to never, never, ever do it again. Those are your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. The Human Jukebox going to be playing for halftime tomorrow night. Southern University's famous marching band will perform in the Superdome for the Saints Thanksgiving night matchup with the Buffalo Bills. Southern announced yesterday the Human Jukebox will make the halftime appearance, which is great because it puts them in New Orleans 2 days ahead of the Bayou Classic. There's your top stories and trending. Diving right back in with attorney Franz Borghardt. Where did we leave off? Oh, yeah. Why don't we just throw out bond for all murder trials?
Well, that's okay. So the problem is you're entitled to a constitutionally determined bond.
Okay.
You're not obligated to have a bond set. You're obligated to have a determination. And what we know is that even in murder cases, nationally, even in murder cases, we set bonds. The guy that drove his vehicle into the multiple individuals in Wisconsin,
yeah.
$5 million bond.
Right.
That feels appropriate, right?
Well,
unless he makes the bond and then we're like, well, it's too low.
That's
the thing.
Here's the thing, though, is, yes, if he makes the bond that it feels too low, then why aren't we just going full Dr. Evil money on it? Like, if he can make a $5 million bond for driving your car through a parade,
so the listeners,
killing now 6 people or 7.
The listeners know, from a practical standpoint, if a bond is $250,000, the people bonding him out, or he, has to either post $250,000 in cash or use a commercial bondsman where he pays about 11% to the bondsman, never gets the money back,
right,
and is out.
Right.
So you do the math. $250,000, that's a $25,000, $26,000, whatever 11% is. Mm-hmm. It's a little over $25,000.
Should be $27,500.
Right. Now, my problem as a greedy private attorney is that's money that goes to a bondsman and not to whom?
To the attorney.
Right.
So getting the bond business is a side hustle.
So when you're spending well, yes, bonds are a side hustle. I cannot post bonds for individuals by law.
Really?
Yeah, the law doesn't allow me to do that. It's unethical as well. But here's the thing. You have individuals that spend all the money getting out of jail and they can't afford an attorney, or they can't afford a GPS monitoring device. And it shocks our system like, well, wait a minute. You could afford to get out of jail, but you can't afford. Taxpayers are going to have to pay for your attorney.
Right.
I'm going to have to pay for your attorney.
Yeah, but taxpayers are going to pay for, not that, how do I say this without being mean? Yeah, your ego is already lighting up, damn it. Taxpayers are going to pay for a lesser attorney.
Not everybody can have a Rolls Royce.
Exactly.
Or a Tahoe.
Exactly.
I'm more of a Tahoe guy.
Yeah,
High
I mean,
country.
we're
High
you know,
country Tahoe.
we're going to talk to Rufinos later on in the show. We're going to pay for a hamburger helper attorney. Like there's
Rufinos, and then there's Long John Silver. Great fish sticks.
No, they're not.
Yeah. Would you want to go to Parens or Long John Silver?
Speaking of Long John Silver, you saw Captain D's closed up Government Street?
That's all.
I mean, that's sad if for no other reason you
Is it
can't
sad?
just call it Captain D's anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Dysentery goes down in Baton Rouge. So sad. So sad.
All right, we were supposed to be on topic here. All right, GPS monitoring devices are a waste of time.
If actually monitored and supervised, which there's no way of knowing if they are monitored or supervised.
Who would handle that?
Well, generally, you have a private entity monitoring the devices, which is what makes them so expensive.
Okay, now who pays for that?
The defendant pays for that, which, again...
Would come out of their own defense.
Right. I don't have the money, Judge, to pay for this GPS monitoring device.
Take your
And,
ass
by
back
the
to jail.
way, even if the GPS monitoring device is on, if you're going to do a violent act, And I'm not saying they're useless. I'm just saying if you're going to do a violent act, you're going to do a violent act.
Okay, but at what point can we look at the possibility of, is there something in between a GPS monitoring device and actually being in prison?
A leash?
I-
Full circle.
Technically speaking, maybe.
people are into
Can you
leashes.
LoJack a dude? I mean, can you?
Well, that is what a GPS monitoring device
No,
is.
it doesn't physically stop you. Is there a way to?
So the Constitution, I'm pretty sure, is against the premise of you wearing a collar that shocks you when you leave the premises of your house.
Okay, there was no such
Now,
thing
you
as a
could
shock
say-
collar when the
you
Constitution
could
was
say-
written.
You could say home incarceration, and if you even leave your house, the perimeter of your house, you're going back to jail. No strikes. That is the better way of doing it.
Okay, and we have the technology to be able to set off that alarm.
Correct.
We have the technology to be able to say,
Correct.
you have left your premises, you are going straight to jail.
Right.
That's
Well, to tell law enforcement or to tell the supervising individual, hey, you need to alert it, and then that person has to file a request with the judge to detain you. It's not as easy as just going to
Okay,
arrest you. It's a mechanism of you have to ask the judge to revoke said bond. So, anyways,
okay, the constitutionality of it, I think, once you leave anywhere short of you're free to go, have you not crossed that line? Because using technology in any way, shape, or form, doesn't that violate the same thing as LoJacking a dude?
so we currently, and this is going to sound like an extreme, but it's not going to be an extreme. We don't chip people. We
Right.
chip animals,
Right.
not people.
Right.
Although we talked earlier about humans wearing leashes.
I mean, you say, we chip Raymond Reddington, but that's on the blacklist.
So point being is you have a decision to make. Do you make the bond so ridiculously high that you anticipate them not being able to make the bond, and then when they make the bond, you have to just sit there and shut up?
Right.
Or do you say you, based on these facts, are not entitled to a bond? And then does that create a constitutional issue because then the defendant can say, well, look at all these other bonds you set for murder cases that are similar or dissimilar to mine. That's the problem.
Well,
with
can
your
they take a
theory.
natural progression upwards like paying an SEC football coach?
You do all sorts of things with money. So the problem I have is we assign the ability for these GPS monitoring devices to do things they just can't do.
Right.
So if you want to be angry about the size of the bond, sure. If you want to be angry about hey, how is it that you're able to make a bond but you can't afford for the cost of the supervision? Yeah. I don't
Funds are
know-
finite, man.
Look. God bless Chris Nakamoto. He's covering the story because he is going after the judge because that makes for sexy media, right? It does.
Makes
It
for
does.
good journalism, too.
Okay, that's fine.
There's
There's an accountability component to it.
He's within that window, to be sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. Yeah.
But I would have to say this. I would need to see the totality of her bonds for the types of cases. I would need that data. If you can give me that metadata, I can tell you.
Bring it back around to the top of
Yeah.
the story where she ran on the idea of second chances. So she promotes this. So
Well, second chances are different than a bond determination where you haven't been found guilty yet.
that's true.
Yeah, good chance. Good try there, Chris. Good try.
We got to call it there. We're going to pick it up
All right,
next
guys.
week, though. He's
Happy
attorney Franz
Thanksgiving.
Borghardt, Fat Boy 50 champion. We're running super late. Let's talk supply chain issues. Let's talk inflation. And let's talk revenge shopping next with Dan Rice.
Revenge shopping?
That's what it says. Revenge shopping.
Who was that on the phone?
That's Dan Rice. He's a marketing professor at LSU.
I'm just going to wear this all day long.
You should.
I feel like it's.
You should wear it everywhere you go
I feel
today.
like it's the.
Are-
Wouldn't you?
So one of the things that took a little bit longer, and this when I said 4 weeks, that's from the time I told him go.
That's all right.
One of the was I wasn't super happy with the caricature, but everything else that came out after that looked like it was something posted on 4chan. So
The value of. Let me tell you something. The value of you delaying gave me the value of being able to complain about the delay, which was far exceeded the actual.
well, it kept the bit running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta polish this thing up. What's this metal? Is this sterling silver?
I would be careful with it.
Is this?
I mean,
Is it?
I paid a little bit. I didn't pay a lot. Later, brother. Happy Thanksgiving.
Is this aluminum?
It's not aluminum. Stupid. Sorry.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
.717 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. I appreciate Attorney Franz Borghardt for hanging out for an extra segment. We had a lot of ground to cover, and, well, still do, so we'll do it again next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Right now, though, let's turn the page, well, to tomorrow and then Black Friday, because inflation is going to affect how much your Thanksgiving meal is going to cost, and then supply-side issues could very well affect Black Friday shopping and throughout the holiday season. To talk about that, we bring on marketing professor from LSU, Dan Rice. Dan, good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing very well this morning. I appreciate you hanging tight. We were running a little long in that first segment.
No worries.
Let's start with the basics. What do you expect from this holiday season?
Well, I mean, the predictions are that we're going to have record-setting raises in terms of amount spent, looking at about 8% over last year. Probably continued trends in online shopping. They're expecting a lot more shoppers out this year than last year in person. So I think, the predictions are from the people that make them that it's going to be a good year overall.
Yes, it should be from a participation standpoint, but what about the supply side? Are we going to see actual effects on the shelves, or are Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad going to be fighting over a Turbo Man?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll get quite that bad, but we'll certainly see different things on the shelves. I mean, one of the big things that you're seeing right now is that a lot of the places that people will go for cheaper alternatives, particularly for fashion, like your Marshalls, your TJ Maxx's, your Ross stores, are having difficulty getting stock. Yeah. And a large part of that is because of some of the supply chain issues are allowing some of these sellers that often sell their, some of the name brands, to sell more of their product at more full price outlets because everybody's having difficulty getting stock. So you're seeing that. That's pushing prices up in many areas, some more than others. But, if you're looking to travel, costs of rental cars are up over 40% this year. If you're looking to get TVs, the average price of those is up over 10%. So there are a number of places where it's going to be increasingly difficult to find deals that you often might find during this time period.
Is this going to cause folks to kind of reel it back in a little bit? Like, once you see the initial sticker shock, will that have an effect on the second trip back to the store? Sort of, is that scenario going to play out?
It could. I mean, the thing here is that with the raise in prices, even if you buy less stuff on an item basis, you still might match or exceed what you've spent in the past. Mm-hmm. So there's that issue. There's also the switch, and if you're talking about physical trips to the store, a lot of people over the course of the pandemic have switched to online shopping, and that was already percentage-wise outpacing the growth in in-store sales, and I would expect that would continue to happen, and probably at an increased rate with all of the stuff that's been going on the last 2 years or so.
The online shopping's an interesting spot here, because when you physically go to the store, you could physically put your hands on a product. When you go online shopping, you can just as easily get an email saying it's going to take 6 weeks to get it to you.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of research that has gone into this, but typically what the online retailers try and do is make it convenient for you. And so there's a trade-off, obviously, between getting it immediately, which you can do if you drive to the store, and being able to have it shipped to your house without leaving it.
Right.
And so there's benefit to both of those. The other things that you're starting to see now is a lot more stores doing the curbside pickups, which is kind of the best of both worlds. You can go, you can order it online, you don't have to physically go into the store, spend time doing that, and you can get it as soon as you get there. So it's very efficient in that route. One of the other things that the online retailers will do is try and make returns convenient for you. So if you get something and you want to try it on and you don't like the way it feels or looks or whatever, a lot of them have very easy ways to go ahead and send it back. I mean, if you look at Amazon, you can take it into a number of different retail partners and just give it to them with a tag, and they'll send it back. You don't have to box it or anything. So there's trade-offs to every method.
Yeah, there are. The curbside option is probably, like you said, the best of both worlds. I want to ask you about the trends with people getting to the stores as well. We've seen that Target has announced that they're not opening on Thanksgiving Day anymore. The push to have Black Friday moved up to Thursday evening. Are we starting to see a curbing of the trend of creating the mania surrounding that initial rush?
Yeah, I think, we're starting to see a couple of key retailers do stuff like that. Target made the announcement this week that they weren't going to do it ever again. Other retailers like outdoor groups, the specialty store REI has done this for a number of years, where I think they also stay closed on Friday as well. And so I think that you will find certain stores putting a focus on family and actually having the holiday be the holiday and not do anything until the next day. Whether that's going to be widespread or not, I can't really say. I think that the risk of doing that certainly is that you do give up certain amounts of revenue. You trade that off with a certain positive image within the consumer mindset, and also benefits of your workers who might feel as employees a little more valued if they don't have to stop Thanksgiving dinner at 5:30 to rush in to open the store at 6 for early deals.
Dan Rice is a marketing professor over at LSU. We're talking about the impacts that just the nature of what we're seeing right now are going to have on holiday shopping. Every aspect of our lives has been accelerated online because of the pandemic. Online shopping was a thing before COVID-19, clearly has ramped up since then. Is that going to be sustained, or are we going to see, now that the pandemic is waning, or at least at a low, a more of a return to a real life as opposed to shopping online?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily an either or. I think you're going to still see people that enjoy the convenience of being able to shop online, not deal with going physically from store to store to get different comparisons, and enjoy the convenience of having it shipped directly to their home on stuff that they can arguably interpret online as easily as in the store. There will also be stuff that you'll still want to go to the store for, and some people will just choose to have an in-store experience or have the urgency that they need to get something, within the next hour or two, and unless you're living in a really specialized situation, it's unlikely you can do that for most products. So I think that there will be somewhat of a return to the stores depending on how people are doing pandemic-wise. Here in Louisiana, our current COVID numbers are very low. In other areas of the country and other areas of the world, you're seeing large upticks again, and in those areas, you're probably going to get fewer people, relatively speaking, than an area where the rates are low like they are in Louisiana.
I haven't even brought up the word sale yet. And one of the things that drives a lot of Black Friday shopping is who has the best deal, who has the $20, 50-inch television, whatever. Because of the supply chain issues, and also we can dive into labor force issues as well, but because of those combined issues, are we going to see fewer like doorbuster blowout deals?
Well, it depends. You'll see probably just as many. Whether they're as good or not is probably the real question.
Well, they'll be sold as such.
Yeah, right, exactly. So the issue is that there probably will be some increase based on the supply chain issues that we're seeing. There are also, in many retail locations, and many locations really everywhere right now, having difficulty filling positions, which is pushing wages up, which is probably something that's largely going to be pushed over to the customer in terms of cost. What's also not being really talked about, but is probably a realistic component of it as well, is the fact that many large producers are looking at this and all the inflation as a really rare opportunity to kind of hide some of their ability to raise prices that they haven't in a while. So some of that is companies taking extra profit. And if you look across some of the large companies that do sales in the U.S., you'll see that a large number of them are actually making more profits now than they were at the beginning of the pandemic, suggesting that, yes, they are paying increased costs for shipping, for labor, for raw materials, but they're also probably padding the books a little bit by being able to raise prices and just take more profit.
Dan Rice is marketing professor over at LSU. We're talking about what we can expect from the holiday shopping season. Dan, got to ask you about travel. In the press release from LSU, there's a mention that rental cars are up by about 43%. Gas, we know what the gas prices are like. Hotel prices are up by close to 20% as well. Travel, the travel industry as a whole has suffered greatly throughout the pandemic, and it seems that it can't find any relief at all. The prices here, it's just going to contribute to an already exacerbated problem in that market.
Well, possibly yes, possibly no. So in the rental car industry, for example, a lot of the issue with the prices being so high is that during the pandemic, a lot of the rental car agencies cut their stock of cars, and the reason was they couldn't fill them. And that now people are starting to travel again. The demand for them is really high relative to the supply, so they can get really good prices for them. So they're recovering in that sense, and my guess would be that as the demand solidifies and continues, that they'll probably ramp those back up and try and better match their supply for the demand they're seeing. And you're finding similar stuff in terms of flights, where you had certain airlines that would shutter a lot of their planes because they weren't filling. And if you go on a flight now, the flights are almost all, well, I shouldn't say almost all, but much more so than they used to be, nearly full. Whereas pre-pandemic, you might go on a flight that had many, many empty seats. That's not the case because they're trying to match the number of flights they have with the number of flyers, and when they do that, the prices for the average ticket do tend to go up.
Dan Rice, marketing professor over at LSU. Before I get you out of here, I kind of want to revisit that the Black Friday sales and being sold an item, whether or not it's actually a value or not. What do consumers need to know going into the stores before this holiday shopping season?
Well, I think the thing that I tell people over and over is make sure you know what you're getting into in terms of the product you're getting and the price that you're paying. Just because something says it's a sale doesn't mean it's a good deal. Some of the stuff on Black Friday, some of the sales are great deals, but not all of them are. And, a lot of the time, if not almost all of the time, you can find better deals on all of the products that you see if you search for it throughout the year. So a lot of times what they'll do is when they're talking about a sale price, they'll base it on the manufacturer's suggested price as opposed to what they normally sell it for, which makes it seem like you're getting a bigger savings than you actually are. But if you're watching the prices over a period of time and you know what a good sale is, what a bad sale is, and online you can see it on an almost daily basis. If you're looking at a particular item and you go back through the course of a week, you'll see it go up and down with different deals and different offers, and you just have to be aware of the true price that is normally paid and the kind of deal that you're getting.
But that means Santa's got to find more hiding spots.
We'll see.
He is marketing professor Dan Rice. We appreciate the time, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
All right, same to you. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. It's a lot to think about going in. They put out a list of what is up by what percentage when it comes to inflation. And, yeah, right at the top, 42.9% rental cars are up. Gas up 42.1%. Used cars up 24.5%. I mean, we're going to be fighting this for some time, to be sure. And some of this might be a market correction overdue, but a lot of it isn't. Here's CBS News. All right. Done with that, done with that, done with that, done with that. I got to turn my sound on or my ringer on because I know I'm going to be getting texts with people arriving.
Did you get confirmation from Congressman?
No. That's one of the reasons I'm turning my ringer on. I got a number of people told me that Franz's volume was remarkably low compared to mine.
I turned it up.
Yeah.
But, like, I couldn't hear him.
I'll get Bo in after the show to make sure it's all the same. But it felt like his went up naturally when the music. Oh, you can throw that away. That was garbage to begin with. Yeah. When the music went off, it felt like the music stepped on him. No, that was number one. Number one. I always leave number one blank, and then so the segment can be as up to the minute as possible. I will leave one story open until after the show is off and running. Oh, jeez.
You were saying something about the volume?
Yeah, Franz is. We got to get it cranked up on the backside over there. Oh, turn the camera around. That's good. I like that one. All right. My daughter has added me on Snapchat, and it is like so much fun.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, just sending back goofy stuff, back and forth goofy stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's the cool thing about it. You could send absolute abominations.
Yeah. Well, and I need to convince her that do not screenshot anything. Don't save anything. The whole purpose of Snapchat is that it disappears.
Sometimes it's good to have memories, though.
Well, yeah, and you could save a few that have like the silly filters, like you got a turkey head.
Some definitely don't need to see.
Oh my god! Oh no, that's the Kroger CEO. Never mind. Good Morning America is talking to Kroger CEO on the countdown to Thanksgiving. But Kroger CEO looks like Les Nessman. Les Nessman, I believe, was the character from WKRP who said, "As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly." Which, by the way, that's going to be the last segment of the show. Unless, how long do we have here?
Let me, by the way, fix that curve when you get back there. Breaking immersion.
Yeah, I've never liked these stupid.
Conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases, and with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, no, he speaks Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. During the season of giving, you might give away more than you want.
Sweater for Mom, looking for Jake, and my cry card for someone named Gina.
More online activity can mean more exposed personal info, but LifeLock by Norton has identity theft protection all wrapped up. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but you can get Black Friday savings up to 35% off your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com today.
15 plus 30 or 35, so about. Complete collision at 52. I think you did get a mattress already. The BRPT was at 11. So BRPT then complete
And I believe those can play on YouTube as well. It's non sequitur. It doesn't really apply to what's on. I'm gonna go look outside real quick. Just let the bumper play for a second. I don't see a car in the parking lot either. It's all right. 7:38. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Hoping to hook up with Congressman Garret Graves in this segment for DC Current, although I fully understand if he's a little bit busy in the kitchen this morning. Backstory on the congressman, and I know I brag on this all the time. It's crazy what we'll brag on our elected representatives for, along with being a responsible fiscal conservative. My man's got game in the kitchen. Seriously. Dude can throw down, and I mean throw down like on a Bobby Flay level. Not on a level of like not sign your contract and then scream about it until you get a new deal from the Food Network. Not that kind of throwdown. I mean, like, remember how Jay Ducote was on Beat Bobby Flay and he beat Bobby Flay? Yeah, well, he did it boiling crawfish. Congressman Graves can outbake Bobby Flay. I'm calling it right now. He can outbake Bobby Flay.
Not a hot take.
No, it's not. But it is a hot muffin. Hey! Actually, he's on the hotline right now. And we've got some business to tend to. But we'll talk a little bit about the holidays as well. So, joining us right now on the hotline, we do this segment every single week. We call it DC Current. He is Congressman Garret Graves, and he's on with us now. Congressman Graves, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about you, Brian?
Doing all right. I was wondering if you were going to be in this morning, or if you were going to be just neck deep in the kitchen getting ready for tomorrow.
I'll tell you what. I've got a lot of kitchen duties going on. Started out that I was just going to be responsible for the spinach madeleine. Next thing I know, they throw the sweet potato casserole, the cranberries, and I can't do canned stuff, and I have to make pecan pie. So it's going to be a busy Thursday.
I mean, that's the nature of it, right? Good work begets more more work.
Theoretically.
Hey, look, before you were coming on, I was bragging on you. We were all well aware of the game you have in the kitchen, so it's on. We've got a couple of actual topics of business to cover. I was trying to predict your take on the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and I want to know how close I got. So, if I could, this is not anything real. This is a matter of we gave the government $1, they gave us 10 cents, and we're to thank them for it. Am I anywhere close on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, so just to put things in perspective, the amount of oil that they've released is projected to be somewhere between 2 and 3 days of America's consumption. It is just a blip on the radar. Yeah. It is not enough to, I guess, mitigate all of the bad energy policies that have caused the price spikes that we're seeing right now. And then the other very powerful force is OPEC. And so this is all just sort of an emotional move or trying to send a signal to the market, but it's not going to have the overall impact that the administration says they want it to have, which is lowering prices. And last, Brian, look at what happened yesterday. The last time I looked, oil prices were actually higher yesterday afternoon. They had gone up, I think, $1.50 a barrel as opposed to going down.
Yeah, because it's not big enough. It's 2 to 3 days, like you said. No, by the way, if the impact was supposed to affect holiday travel, the busiest travel weekend of the year, it's not going to take effect until probably the tank after that.
That's right, and they're going to have to come back and refill the 50 million barrels, so it's going to be taking from future supply, and so it's going to end up being absorbed anyway. I mean, so it just doesn't even make any sense.
Okay, can you refill those 50 million barrels the traditional way that has made Louisiana's economy for so many years while still keeping the image of being the green president?
Absolutely, and here's where the frustration lies. When you look back, and Brian, this is so important because this climate change and energy issue has become so emotional, and it's no longer fact-based.
Right.
The head of the International Energy Agency, not an American, not our friend, came out and said that what the United States has done in energy emissions reductions over the last 10 or 15 years is the most significant in world history. You know how we've done that? Natural gas. Why would you take away the tool that has allowed you to lead the world in reducing emissions? And that's exactly what this administration is doing right now. It's not science-based.
No, and you lose oversight with that. When you go all Pontius Pilate on the green movement and say, it's just out of our hands now, you've lost your own oversight. You can no longer direct your own destiny.
That's exactly right, because as you're indicating, you become dependent upon China for solar panels to supply your energy. You become dependent upon China's batteries, who has the largest battery manufacturing capacity and cornered the market on all the rare earths and strategic minerals you need to make batteries. Like it's not well thought out, this entire strategy.
Congressman Garret Graves is our guest. We were moving from energy over to Build Back Better, which I hesitate to even call it that. But anyway, Build Back Better, you were a no vote on it, but before voting no, you offered up 8 different amendments. Did any of those amendments actually make it in?
They refused to even allow us to offer the amendments. They blocked us using sort of parliamentary tricks to block us from even offering the amendments. And Brian, let's keep in mind, part of the reason we're seeing these energy price spikes, these gasoline price spikes, the electricity price spikes, is because that bill includes a fee of up to $10,000 a mile per year for energy pipelines. A mile a year. It also increases the royalty rates that companies have to pay to the federal government to produce oil and gas. Like, why do you think these prices are going up? At the end of the day, this money doesn't just come out of the pockets of the energy companies. It's paid by consumers. And so those costs are being absorbed into the market right now. This is why the prices are going up at the pump. It's why our electricity bills are going up. And this administration coming out and suggesting that there's collusion with the oil and gas industry or that something else is going on, it just shows that, unfortunately, the lack of experience of some of these energy officials.
The idea that they would get stuck with the bill, that the oil companies would get stuck with the bill, that's just the nature of how the market works. It always gets down. Cost of doing business gets factored into the price at the pump or the price on the shelf if you're talking retail, or if you're talking about taxing all the cargo ships that are off the Pacific coast, those taxes are going to be seen on retail shelves as well.
No, that's exactly right. And you bring up a great point, because, Brian, this isn't limited to just gasoline. This is the transportation cost, whether it's something flown, taken on a train, put on a boat, or put on a truck. This is going to contribute to the increased prices across the board.
Congressman Garret Graves is our guest. We do DC Current every single Wednesday. Pecan pies aside, I appreciate you making time this morning. All right, so Build Back Better moves on. Is this going to be on the timeline that they're looking at to have it heard in front of the Senate before the end of the year?
Well, thankfully, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Senator Kristen Sinema of Arizona, and to some degree Senator John Tester of Montana, all 3 Democrat senators have raised some concerns with the bill. And, of course, Senator Manchin has been the one out front. And the reason that's important is because the Senate right now is comprised of 50 Democrats and 50 Republicans, so they have to have every single Democrat vote yes on the bill in order for it to pass and ultimately go to the president. Senator Manchin, in my opinion, has raised some very well-thought-out, principled concerns about things like the cost of increased energy to the average motorist or consumer. He's raised concerns about the uncompetitive provisions to the American workforce, the American worker, in terms of the economy and just undermining our competitiveness. So he's raised concerns about the overall cost of the bill and the contribution to inflation and rising prices. So he's raised, together they've raised some pretty good, in my opinion, concerns, and they're just trying to think through and see if they can come up with ways of either stopping the bill or making changes. My preference would be to stop the bill. There are a handful of things in there that I think are good, but certainly overall this bill does not make sense.
Yeah, there are a handful of things that are good, like making funds available to provide relief for disaster victims for duplication of benefits. Nope, that one wasn't heard. How about stopping the bill from taking effect? Nope. That one wasn't heard either. Congressman, how frustrating was it to attempt to put in 8 amendments only to have them blocked?
Oh, it's so incredibly frustrating. And Brian, like you were saying, I mean, some of the examples are, we say if inflation hits 10%, you're going to stop spending money under this bill. Like, that's a 10%. I mean, that's an extraordinary figure. We talked about some levels of overall debt into the trillions and trillions. We put some pretty reasonable triggers in there on energy prices and other things, and they blocked all of them. So it is frustrating to watch this type of behavior that is 100% political and not thinking about merit or long-term implications on this country.
I mean, 10% is a pretty egregious number. I mean, anybody who gets a cost of living increase in their paycheck, that's normally somewhere around 3 if you get it at all.
All Americans effectively have had their paychecks cut this year because prices are going up and our paychecks are not rising at the same level.
In the meanwhile, what's the rest of the calendar year looking like for your office?
I'm sorry, what's the rest of the what?
What's the rest? Once you get back to work, I mean, what's the rest of the year looking like? What's on tap for you?
Oh, sure. So, one big thing that just hasn't gotten a lot of attention is back on September 30th, we were able to get a pretty significant slug of money in the temporary appropriations bill for Hurricane Ida. And this is everything from dollars directly for Hurricane Ida victims, not the FEMA funds, but this is direct assistance to people to rebuild their homes and things along those lines, and also billions of dollars for new flood protection investments. So we've been working ever since September 30th, after we were working with the Appropriations Committee to get it in, we've been working with the different agencies trying to get them to prioritize Louisiana and to speed up getting these dollars out the door.
He is Congressman Garret Graves. We meet every Wednesday at this time for D.C. Current Congressman. I'm going to let you get back to cooking, man.
All right, Brian, thanks. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You do the same. Appreciate the time. Right. Here comes your money now. It was either open up a new question or bail, and yeah. Oh, no. How can I replay? Well, it looks like it deleted without me even actually seeing it. Because I opened up my phone and it opened up right to it.
Have you changed screens yet?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Sometimes if you get sent to Snapchat and you can't see it, or you saw it but like you didn't really get to see it. For example,
Yeah.
it's like a person that has like the square but it's already open.
Yeah, that's what it's got.
If you hold your thumb down on it, sometimes if you recently opened it, it'll just replay it or reload it for you and then you hit it again. But you have to do that before you switch to the screens.
Oh, we didn't get the Parents' Bill of Rights. Good stuff.
I love when they just speed up the disclaimer at the end of the commercial.
Yeah.
To where you can still understand it, but you're just left not trusting whatever was said before that. Because there's that much of a disclaimer.
Has been fighting insurance companies for over 28 years and recently won an $18.9 million verdict for a crash victim. Trust his experience. Offices in Baton Rouge. Results may vary. Since 1941, Landers Supermarket has been part of our Baton Rouge community. I'm Jamie Cody, and when I shop locally at Landers Supermarket. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, one on Government, the other on Perkins at Segan. And this fall, whether you're looking for that local craft beer, that
Dude, that belt came out looking sweet. I'm pleased with that. That was worth the money.
The intro's done really well, but the presentation is
Yeah, I didn't want to write it down because I wanted to leave room to be able to shift, but that's one of the ones that I kind of rehearsed the night before. Who do I have next? Complete Collision or BRPT? Okay.
Perfect holiday gifts and clothing at Burles. An award-winning men's department features the finest suits, sport coats, sweaters, and casual attire. An on-trend ladies boutique offers top labels and unique fashions and accessories. Find dress-up and everyday fun clothing in a complete boys department. Something from the iconic logo Perlin Crawfish Collection always makes a favorite gift. And there's complimentary gift wrap. Happy holidays from Burles, 5366 Jefferson Highway, Baton Rouge. A gift-giving tradition since 1939.
This is Skip Bertman, and as a coach for over 50 years and the father of 4 daughters, we've had a lot of happiness and accumulated lots of stuff. Dependable Storage wants your stuff. Now open in Baton Rouge. Visit dependablestorage.com.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Boucher.
All right, my friends, it's going to be a busy day for travel, but guess what? So far, so good. So if you have somewhere you need to be and you're ready to get traveling early, the bridge looks great. Check out the map. It's pretty much mostly green except for a little
Would you want me to use these YouTube?
I am monitoring one issue over to the shoulder one.
Last segment of the show. They were kind of there as backup if the congressman didn't show. So.
So it's more like 2019. 53.4 million travelers out there and 90% will be driving. The only issue currently is on I-12 eastbound around the Amy River Bridge truck stop, but no other travelers impacted by it. Let's take you outside and check on some cameras. Looking good on I-10 at College, wide open here and Providence Green.
If I had known we were going to keep Franz for an extra segment, instead of saying I don't care for each story and top stories, I would have had like one line Thanksgiving trivia. Like number 5. The turkey was almost our national bird. That sort of thing.
I think it still works.
Oh, God, yeah.
Don't care.
It was also a very slow news day. I mean, that kind of worked out, too. Thanks again to Congressman Garret Graves for hopping on board. Always appreciate his time for DC Current. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We got CBS News coming your way in just a little bit. I'm so ready for Thanksgiving. Got the outside in coming your way in 60 seconds, which is enough time for me to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. Look, as we age, we start to notice these little tweaks, these little pains, these little nagging injuries. They just kind of stick around. Nothing major, nothing you can't learn to limp through, nothing you can't learn to live with the pain, but why would you want to? The folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy are here for you. They've been around for 60 years. They'll sit you down. They will listen to your story. They'll make sure they're able to get to the root of your physical limitations within your comfort zones. That lower back pain, maybe you're hunched over a computer all day long, causing a literal pain in the neck. Call 917-9185, 917-9185. Get yourself a complimentary screening. Get back to being your best you. Think physical therapy with BRPT Lake, brptlake.com. Time for the outside in. Let's roll.
It's time to step outside of East Baton Rouge and get inside our surrounding parishes. About time for me to be hitting the old dusty trail. Really explore space this time. I mean, really. Yeah. Explore the space. The Outside In, presented by BRPT Lake. With 6 locations and extended hours to fit your needs, BRPT Lake has got you covered. Schedule online now at brptlake.com.
We're going to start in Lafourche Parish, where a man charged in a drunk driving crash that killed 3 college freshmen had 3 prior arrests for driving while intoxicated. WWL-TV reports that 39-year-old Joey Clamont was driving on Highway 20 in Shack Bay just after midnight Saturday morning when he crossed the center line and struck an SUV head-on. The collision killed 3 Nickel State students, 19-year-old Lily Dufresne, 18-year-old Haley Koss, and Michaela Bowling as well, also 18. Clamont was booked into Lafourche Parish Jail on 3 counts of vehicular homicide, multiple traffic violations, and his 4th DWI. Over in Livingston Parish, Parish President Leighton Ricks is going to deliver his annual State of the Parish address on December 1st during the Livingston Parish Chamber of Commerce luncheon at Forest Grove Plantation. Registration for that luncheon is required. Next stop, visit the Livingston Chamber for more. Next stop, Ascension Parish, where according to the Gonzales Weekly Citizen, about 50 volunteer firefighters and medical first responders from Ascension Fire District Number 1 attended a night landing zone training class at the 7th District Volunteer Fire Department. According to Fire Board Chairman James E. LeBlanc, volunteer firefighters from Santa Maria, 5th Ward, 7th District, Galvez Lake, Geismar, and Sorrento discussed procedure at night landing zone scenes, hazards encountered by Acadian Ambulance Air Med air crews at landing zones, and cooperation between Ascension medical responders and Air Med personnel. Closing out, keeping it in Ascension Parish to close out, the City of Gonzales will hold its annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony in front of City Hall Tuesday, December 7th at 6 p.m. Residents are invited to observe the event with their families and enjoy taking pictures with Santa and his elves under the 50-foot Christmas tree. In addition to this, gifts will be handed out to any children who attend. That is The Outside In, presented by Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. Check them out online at brptlake.com. Talk 107.3 and FM and Citizens Bank and Trust are in the spirit to rock your holidays. We've got the $15K holiday giveaway. What would you do with an extra $15,000? Head to talk1073.com to register to win $50,000 cash presented by Citizens Bank and Trust.
Protect your retirement. Visit safemoneyplan.net. 8 o'clock.
Yay!
Baton Rouge, 98.1 HD3. Talk 107.3 FM.
It does. Do I? Oh, nice. Well, today's the second most traveled day of the year, so. Are you flying out of Baton Rouge? Mistake. No, it's not. Where?
Children are still in the hospital. There are a lot of families that don't necessarily want to speak at this time. Some of them telling us that it's just too hard to speak, but we know that they have broken bones, just a lot of different injuries. 39-year-old Darrell Brooks Jr. is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. President Biden is expected to nominate Shalondra Young today to lead the Office of Management and Budget. Young has been serving as acting director. She would become the first black woman to officially hold that post. Buyer beware this holiday season. Dave Hollister with the Secret Service Cyber Fraud Task
Where's Sanford, Florida? Okay. SFB Airport? Yeah.
But examine sites closely, he says, and there are often tip-offs, misspellings, grammar mistakes, links on the page that don't work, and a refusal to accept credit cards. Consumer correspondent Anna Warner. What's the word or words of the year? NFT, standing for non-fungible token, topped the list. Its use rose 11,000% in the past year. Other words and phrases in the running included the COVID-focused pandemic,
jokes frowned upon on this show?
Nope. Oof.
Are any of these guests going to be attending in person?
Megan is supposed to be here in person. That's us.
Well, today is expected to be a very busy day for travelers. It's not that busy right now. Just one crash is going to be Sherwood Forest at Lake Sherwood, Jones Creek area. Look out for backups that may be occurring there. No backups on I-12.
I also got this new thing for air travel. Have you ever heard of Clear?
No.
Apparently, it's this thing where you can do like contactless check-in.
Yeah.
Where you can like go through security in like almost like a first class line. Like they've already scanned all your shit. They already have like your prints and everything. So you just like go. I'm still showing up hours early, but that was not an end result. Hopefully it works out. If not,
This report is brought to you by Shawbells.
security's gonna
So apparently SFB Airport and MCO Airport are the same one.
It's all part of the
Anyway, the American has direct flight. I'm not seeing it on the page for today, though. You would have had to have flown out tomorrow. Yeah, that's no good. But yeah, there are direct flights from Met. It was big news when it came out. That was a big get for Baton Rouge Metro.
I think that was the kicker of why I didn't go to Baton Rouge because we had to also get the tickets like weeks before because obviously it gets more expensive the closer to the flight time you get.
Well, yeah, if you want to fly tomorrow, it'll cost you like $400 for a flight that should cost like $120
Not worth it.
round trip.
Yeah, 100%. It's not worth it. Alas, got a busy day of travel ahead of me. It should be fun.
Debbie says there's Mr. Carlton, owner of the station. Why was he out in the field? Oh, that's right. That's right. Les was out in the field. It was Mr. Carlton back in the... Yeah. It's been forever since I've seen that. And happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, Debbie. Okay. 806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Yeah, I know. It's not till tomorrow, but I can say happy Thanksgiving now. I mean, I'm probably not going to see you before then, right? Happy Thanksgiving. What have you got in plan? What have you got in store? Let us know on our YouTube page. The show is up live on YouTube every single day. We have an interactive chat. I want to know 3 things. Number 1, the side dish you absolutely abhor. You know it's coming every single day. Don't say cranberry sauce. That one is exempt. That one gets a gold jacket and does not have to be in this competition ever again. But what's the side dish you can't? You can't, but you do it anyway because you know Aunt Gladys made it and you don't want to disappoint her. So you at least put a little bit of scoop on it, on the plate. But you can't let it take up too much real estate. There's a lot going on there. I mean, you get a big chunk for the stuffing, right? Also, stuffing or dressing. Which way do you roll? If you put stuffing on the... we're going to get to that later on the show. If you don't put the stuffing in the bird, you have to call it something else. If it's just in a casserole dish, you haven't stuffed it in anything. It's dressing. Anyway, I want to know that. I want to know, what is your Thanksgiving tradition that your family does that maybe not every other family does? You know, we had one growing up where, and Franz reminded me of this when he was on. He said when the hens are cooking. Just such a dated reference. Such an old school reference when the hens are cooking. But we used to have a thing where all the guys would go bowling the night before. Look, honey, you got it. I'm not going to get in your way. I'm not getting in your way. If you need me to throw something on the grill, if you need me to do something, let's do this. Otherwise, me and the boys, we're going to go bowling. Which, who does that anymore? I don't know. I still like bowling. Anyway, what's the tradition that y'all have in your house? When we all pass out watching the Lions play. Yeah. Give me something good. Let us know on the YouTube chat. And the third one, why is there not more Thanksgiving-based television? There are two, and I mean two, well, three, iconic TV moments from Thanksgiving. Number one, we all know. WKRP in Cincinnati. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Number two, the West Wing Butterball Hotline. And number three also comes from the West Wing, and it doesn't have one particular line, but it involves Alice and Jenny trying to lift a turkey. Are there more? Put them in the YouTube chat. Let me know. Let me know. Let's get you set for Thanksgiving. Let's make Thanksgiving a bigger thing. Can we please have up until Thanksgiving to actually make the time to give thanks, to enjoy this traditionally American holiday? You don't have Thanksgiving around the rest of the world. You don't go across to, you don't have Thanksgiving in Italy. There's no turkey cacciatore. There's no sweet potato parmesan. It's ours. And yet we skip right past it. You walk into a Walgreens on October 31st, it's candy corn as far as the eye can see. On December 1st, it's all red and green. Anyway, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Right now, though, it's the part of the show where Jake takes us back in time to when the Pilgrims settled. No, for this day in history. Always on point. Always on point. One Christy Haldane texting me, the Friends episode where Monica wore the turkey. Where the turkey ended up on top of Monica's head. That's another good one.
There you have it. Well, welcome, everybody.
Also, who invented the term Friendsgiving? Nothing about Thanksgiving says family. You give thanks wherever you are. You don't have to give it a side name. You're still giving thanks. Go ahead, Jake.
According to the show sheet, I have about 1 minute to do this segment.
You've got 3. Maybe 4. Go.
Starting things off in 1835. Let's talk about the Texas Rangers. No, not the baseball team. Baseball didn't exist yet. Maybe it did. Who cares?
No, you're talking about Chuck Norris. Walker, Texas Ranger.
Not that one either. Damn. Texas Rangers, the mounted police force authorized by Texas provisional government, was created. Over a century later, 1953, Los Angeles Dodgers sign Walter Alston to a 1-year pact, not a contract, a pact, as manager for 1954. He signs 23 one-year agreements until 1976.
I like it.
That's that is after every season, that dude's just like, am I getting a job still? 1960, Philadelphia center Wilt Chamberlain puts down an NBA record 55 rebounds in the Warriors' 132-129 defeat to Boston Celtics at Philadelphia Civic Center. Imagine putting down 55 rebounds and losing by 3.
Yeah, that's a rough go of it.
1966, 400 die of respiratory failure and heart attacks in New York City smog. Smoggiest day in city's history.
All right, it's weather. Good.
2012, Gangnam Style becomes the most viewed video on YouTube, surpassing 808 million
Where
views.
is good old Psy these days?
Hopefully,
Psy
hopefully in a
disappeared
better place.
faster than Uncle Psy. And who would have thought we'd have 2 Psys in our lexicon in 2021?
Not me. Man, what a simpler time. 2015. We have turkey Turkey apparently shot down a Russian fighter jet after claiming it had flown into Turkish airspace. You know what that tells me, folks? It tells me that Thanksgiving does not like communism.
No, it's an American holiday.
That's all the events I got. Let's get right down to the birthdays.
There's no turkey borscht.
No.
Okay. You skipped 2, right?
What?
Well, one might be in deaths.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The other, DB Cooper, happened today.
That's a holiday.
No.
It is a holiday. It is DB Cooper
You
Day.
can't celebrate someone who you don't know it is.
It is a fascinating story.
It is. It is
You gotta
one of
have
the most
something-
fascinating stories.
You have to have a day to commemorate that, to remember, to help people remember how insane this story is.
I
If you
need
guys
no
don't
help.
know who DB Cooper is, look.
Hijacked the
It
plane,
up.
got millions of dollars, sent the plane to Lima, Peru with the back door open.
And he bailed.
Like Kaiser Soze, just disappeared.
The boogeyman.
Yeah.
Gosh. Some
That's
people
what the
say
B
it's-
stands for.
Some people claim that it's
That's
Loki.
DB
but we'll
Cooper.
never know.
Duh, Boogeyman Cooper.
To Boogeyman Cooper.
There it is.
We learn something new every day. Let's get to the birthdays. We haven't even... Okay. LiAngelo Ball turns 23, the most irrelevant of the Ball family.
I was going to say,
No
he's,
offense, LiAngelo. I like
he's
you.
the
You're more
Tito
relevant than
Jackson
me,
of the
but-
balls.
Yikes, yeah. Conleth Hill. He plays Lord Varys in Game of Thrones. He turns 57. Happy birthday to him. Big O! Oscar Robertson turns 83.
Good for you. I really thought you were going to miss that one.
Are you kidding me? He was the leader in triple-doubles before Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't get all up in arms. You rarely mention anybody who was born before 1980.
Jimmy Graham, 35.
Yeah, former New Orleans Saint Jimmy Graham, who disappeared into irrelevance once Sean Payton was no longer his coach.
Oh, I think it was last season he caught that touchdown pass just when the game ends and headed right to the locker room. Bears versus Saints.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. And finally, we got the Magic Man, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Dang it. He turns 39.
That can't be all you have.
Maybe.
Who else you got?
That's it.
Okay. How about Saints running back Tony Jones?
How?
I know.
I'm disappointed in myself.
Saints running back Tony Jones. How about Katherine Heigl?
Oh, yes.
43 years old today.
See, I
Katherine
saw
Heigl.
her name. I just didn't remember where she was from.
Oh, like a million so-so rom-coms?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I've seen her face plenty.
And LSU nod right here. LSU legend right here. Former Orioles pitcher Ben McDonald.
Ooh, happy birthday to all those mentioned. I have 3 deaths to talk about. Usually I have none. Let's get right into it. Freddie Mercury died on this day in 1991.
You mentioned that the other day that he was diagnosed with AIDS like 2 days before.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
And he
Whatever.
died the next day, which is today. Well, this day in history. Florence Henderson died in 2016. People know her from the Brady Bunch. I don't know her from anything, but, you know, some people get it. Pat Morita died on this day in 2005, known as Mr. Miyagi.
Yes.
That is all the deaths. Let's
No,
get right down
it's
to
not.
What? Who am I missing? Don't.
This day, 1963. Jack Ruby shoots Lee Harvey Oswald. Oh. Yeah. You can't do November 22nd and not do November 24th.
I'm sorry to all those listening. I have failed you in this moment.
We'll bet.
Let's just move on. Let's just get past it. We'll get through it together. DB Cooper Day. We had our own little spiel. Look them up. It's fascinating. Just learn yourself something. Celebrate your unique talent day. That is also a day, a holiday. Brian, do you have any unique talents that people don't know about?
No. No, none that I'm going to talk about on air. Jeez.
Boring. We'll talk about it after.
Tune into the YouTube.
Yeah. Next up, we have National Jukebox Day. And finally, Drinksgiving.
I'm down with that.
I
But
am
no,
too.
but see, stuffing makes a good hangover food, so this makes
does.
sense. This
Yeah.
makes more sense than you'd think.
That is this day in history.
All right, taking a quick break. When we come back, Dawn McVea from NFIB hops on the hotline next.
Attorney Peyton Murphy has been fighting insurance companies for over 28 years and recently won an $18.9 million verdict for a crash victim. Trust his experience. Offices in Baton Rouge. Results may vary. Dreams are important. They're also easy to set aside during hard times. At Hancock Whitney, we look out for your dreams when you can. So keep dreaming. We've got your back. Learn more at HancockWhitney.com or stop by a financial center. Hancock Whitney Bank. Member FDIC.
minute.
Steroid-free Crissa works at and belongs hamsters. It blocks the mTOR enzymes, which is believed to reduce inflammation, even on the most stubborn rebel.
What did you do to your hair?
What?
The specific way Eucrisa works is not well defined. Prescription Eucrisa for mild to moderate eczema is for topical use only in ages 3 months and up. Do not use if you are allergic to Eucrisa, Crisaboral ointment 2%, or its ingredients. Allergic reactions including hives, itching, swelling, and redness may occur at or near the application site. The most common side effect is application site pain, such as burning or stinging.
Come on, moms and dads. Check out eucrissa.com and ask your doctor about Eucrissa. Can I sing one more song?
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Travel just fine right now. Of course, it's going to be busy today. We'll be monitoring that every single for you. Currently, though, traffic is fine across the Mississippi River Bridge. 6 minutes out down to College. We really have been
There's Dawn. Good.
this morning, so something to be thankful for there.
Yes.
50 minutes
Talk
past
173.
if you're going to say the Louis Armstrong.
Morning, Don. How are you?
Scope A is nice and quiet.
Doing well,
Not
thanks.
yet.
We're about to be live in just a little less than a minute. We'll have you on.
On the basin. By the way, if you're going to the
Thank you.
airport in New Orleans, arrive 2 hours early. You can download the My TSA app, and it should tell you about how long it should take to get
I just realized today is the 1-year anniversary.
great. No issues in Prairieville.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get free tire repairs on all household cars when you purchase new tires. It's all part of the Charlie's Dozen, and it's only at Shawbills.
Well, we got to make mention. I mean, that's. $8:20. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. The clock is ticking, counting it down to Thanksgiving Day. After Thanksgiving Day, we have Black Friday. After Black Friday, a Small Business Saturday. Here to ask why isn't every day Small Business Day, Dawn McVea from the National Federation for Independent Business. Dawn, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Doing great. How are you?
Glad to have you on. I'm doing very, very well. Glad to have you on this morning. Let's talk a little bit about Small Business Saturday and what's going to be the same, what's going to be different. How's this year going to play out?
Well, we hope that even more people go to shop on Small Business Saturday. Last year in 2020, it was the 11th annual Small Business Saturday. American Express started it back in 2010 to kind of help recover from the Great Recession. And, you know, and of course we got on board, obviously, like you said, every day should be Small Business Day. And so last year, $19.8 billion was spent nationwide at small retailers and independent retailers. And so we hope to see that number jump significantly this year. And that ends up resulting in obviously greater sales for those businesses, greater activity, and then 67 cents of every dollar spent in the small business stays in your local economy. And that should be reason enough for everybody to shop small.
No, 100% it should. 100% it should, because that 67 cents turns over more times as well.
That's exactly right.
Dawn McVea with the National Federation for Independent Business is our guest. Dawn, I got to ask you about, let's start with the supply side issues. A lot of the big box stores have been seeing supply side issues. Does that trickle all the way down to the smaller business as well when it comes to retail?
Yes, it does. We have about half of our members telling us that they are impacted by the supply chain disruptions. So that's a big chunk of folks. Now that's them telling us they're significantly impacted. There's another 34% saying there's a moderate impact. So, I mean, that's pretty much leading up to everybody, right? So everybody's experiencing some level of disruption, whether it be slow to get to the shelves or not getting what they need at the time that they thought they were going to have it.
When it comes to retail, are y'all getting reports that it's any like one type of product over another?
No, we have. I mean, it's across the board with our retailers, from restaurants to to shops. They're just not. They're experiencing some level of disruption, and so what we're hoping to see is these things start to level out here in the next few months as things hopefully return to normal. we thought with the pandemic getting better and the government mandates being lifted and the restrictions kind of coming off, that would certainly open things back up and get things back to normal. But between the supply side and the staffing shortages, they're still really struggling out there.
Actually, let's talk about those staffing shortages a little bit, because I've heard mixed reports as to the staffing shortages tend to hurt the national brands more than they hurt the local ones, because they went into the pandemic with more of a family atmosphere, with more of a teamwork mentality.
Yeah, well, that's, we talk about that all the time. Our small business owners, try to treat their employees like family, because it's usually a pretty small group of folks working for them. They want to keep them. That retention is a big deal for small business, because the higher the turnover, the more cost to the small business. So they want to keep their folks. That's been their big challenge. Things are improving locally on the, people reentering the workforce, people getting back out there. Things are improving. We're seeing those numbers and very positive. The challenge is retention at this point, and getting people to show up for work regularly, on time. All of those are very important details.
Let's talk expectations, because where we're at with the pandemic right now, where we're at with it, we're at a low. I want to say waning, but I don't know if it's going to come back again. But where we're at right now, how is that setting up expectations for people who are ready to spend, people who have available money to spend, like all these things combined together? What are the expectations from the small business world?
Well, small business owners are reporting to us that they are seeing their sales return to pre-pandemic levels, which is very, very, very exciting to hear from them. I think what you're going to have on the expectation side from the consumer perspective is to be patient with small business owners, be patient with the fact that you probably have a lot of new employees in there that maybe haven't been in a shop as long as you're used to seeing folks. You're going to have owners in there working this holiday season. They're going to be in there being sure everything's running smoothly, probably more so than they would have been in the past couple years due to COVID and the results of that on their business model. And then, and be aware of the fact that prices probably have increased. Our business owners have been telling us for the past couple of months they were looking at increases, but it's hitting them now at this point. They're having to look at it and say, look, about 69% are telling us that they haven't had to increase prices between the supply chain disruptions and the cost of the goods and services going up, and then the increased compensation. This has a real impact. What the government did and unemployment benefits and all the money that they've put into the economy has definitely impacted the ability of small business owners to compete. Right, so they've been having to compete with government on pay, and so that has impacted things, and so that will have resulted in some price increases. Hopefully not huge jumps, but you might notice a little bit higher. But what we're hoping is that folks continue to go out and support their small businesses, because again, those dollars stay in the economy and keeps those doors open, and that's where we want to be.
Yeah, and it's almost like the small business owner, the mom and pop retailer, is doubly hit, because when you have those when the cost of business goes up, cost of doing business goes up, the big boys, the national brands, the box stores and whatnot, they have more buffer room to absorb it. That's
right. They have that's what we always say about the equal footing, and not to harken back to the loss of the passage of Amendment Number 1, but we it was really frustrating, because that our sales tax structure here in Louisiana automatically puts Louisiana small businesses at a disadvantage, and so we're not doing ourselves any favors as a state with the policy that we have, and for local governments to oppose that move was a huge shot in the foot to their very own people that keep their main streets running. So we hope to correct that very soon. But yeah, I think you'll see that folks will get out and hopefully shop small business owners. I mean, even foot traffic, real people.
Yes.
Also online, we've got small business owners who went from not having an online presence before COVID to really beefing it up, because they realized that was going to be the way to stay in business. Mm-hmm. And so, check their online, go shop on their Instagrams, go and be sure you share and tell your friends, about it, because that's kind of the other issue, is that we really saw a huge jump in e-commerce, last year for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
But the number, I think for nationally, it went from 500 billion to like 700 billion, or like 590 billion. It was a $200 billion jump over 2019 to 2020. So when you see those kind of numbers, you realize, okay, yeah, people are definitely going online. Obviously, the big box retailers are the top 10 retailers, right, online, not your little mom and pop shop.
Right.
But again, it's the dollars you spend with them, with your Main Street stores, that really make a difference in your community. And everybody's getting back to having those, school events and fundraisers and, basketball and football and all the things. And, you're always looking to those friends and family who own a small shop to offer something for an auction or whatnot. And we need to remember that asking them for that, it's important to turn that back around and support them on days like this.
Supporting the local economy is job one, and probably finding a unique product would be something else that should enter the equation as well. In the meanwhile, Small Business Saturday is this Saturday, but yes, it should be Small Business Day every day. Dawn McVea from just because it's Thanksgiving, I'll give you a pass for peeling the scab back about Amendment 1 falling.
Sorry.
I mean, why don't you just bring up franchise taxes to really give me heartburn before I eat tomorrow?
Hey, it's important to remember these things while we're all sitting around the Thanksgiving table and we're looking for a good conversation. This should be one of them.
We will give thanks that Amendment 2 passed is how I'm going to roll. That's what we're doing. You have a great Thanksgiving, Dawn. I appreciate your time.
Y'all too. Thank you.
All righty. We got CBS News coming your way in just a minute. Do have to tell you about the folks over at Go Slim Nutrition. Hey, you know you're going to pack it on tomorrow, right? You know you're not holding back when it comes to hitting up that Thanksgiving buffet, the smorgasbord within the house. Well, get ahead of the holidays before the holidays get ahead of you. Office parties are on the way. Christmas parties are all over the place. There's going to be like baked goods in the kitchen area every single day. You know it's coming. Get out in front of it with a Jumpstart plan. 763-9600 is the phone number for Go Slim Nutrition. I've been taking part in the plan. I'm down more than 50 pounds. I'm almost back to the weight I graduated high school at. It's kind of ridiculous, the job that they can do. And it's not just about the diet. It's about adopting better overall lifestyle choices so that you're not just losing weight, you can sustain that weight loss. GEAUXSlimBR.com is the website, or just go by and see them. They're on Bluebonnet, right next to Rouse's at Perkins Road. It's Go Slim Nutrition. All right, come on over. So we're on YouTube, and we're always on YouTube. Okay. So we don't really take breaks.
Very good.
All this conversation is had there as well. It's kind of a peek behind the curtain, sort of show behind the show sort of thing.
Very cool.
So we'll talk a little bit about managing a restaurant. What is your title?
Director of Operations.
Director of, okay. Managing through the pandemic and whatnot. What this last year has been like. Are y'all affected by the labor shortage? Obviously, pricing's been difficult. In fact, I saw where, from an inflation perspective, restaurant prices are up by 5% across the board.
Yes.
Have y'all?
No, we haven't taken any increases.
Well, then I'm definitely bringing that in.
Although commodities have gone up, we haven't taken any increases.
My wife and I went over to Rufino's for our anniversary. Never not walked away raving. It's so good.
Thank you.
So good. In fact.
Thank you. We love what we do.
What shows, too. Where is it? Oh, did I delete? No, there it is right there. Love the, special dessert. And then we never get out of there without,
a big old
we always forget about the cotton candy. We always forget about the cotton candy.
Little icing on the cake there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Lots of fun with the cotton candy.
How'd that get started?
Really, it was Peter and Ruffin trying to come up with something unique and fun that, the whole, everything about Rufino's is celebrating life no matter what the occasion is. And so what better way than to celebrate than topping your dinner off with a little fun cotton candy that reminds you of your childhood, and it's fun and
it's crazy how well
great.
it works.
Yes.
It's so simple.
It's so simple.
So simple, but it works. Like there's no other phrase for it. They bring that cotton candy out the table. It's like, yeah.
Yes, everybody immediately gets happy.
Yeah, it's like
so.
Well, cool.
It's very cool.
I cannot have heard that right. 1,300 trailers deployed now? Or are we doing a report card on what was already done?
I don't know. But
the storm made landfall August 29th.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
About the trailers?
Yes.
I mean, if they're just now getting them, first of all, happy Thanksgiving.
Right.
But if they're just now getting them, have we been footing the tab for, because taxpayers pay for this, so we've been footing the tab for hotel bills this whole time. I mean, they're not just out in a tent that they got from Academy Sports, they'd be in a hotel somewhere, but it's that much harder to rebuild when you're not physically on site.
Correct. And I have been hearing quite a bit of that. Either hard to rebuild because they're not there, or insurance companies bankrupted.
Yes, bankrupted.
Yeah.
Homeowners insurance is going to come to a head in the very near future. We're either something's going to go awry where either mortgages are going to be ridiculous because we're not going to be able to get insured.
Oh, good point. Didn't think of it that way.
Or our insurance premiums are going to be so high that we can't afford to buy houses in the first place, which is going to make
things wreak havoc on the line.
Rentals are going to go through the roof. Landlords, absentee landlords, because it's not going to be local money that buys in and eats up half the market.
Correct.
It's going to be people coming from out of town, pay cash for
whatever they can get their hands on.
Half a subdivision.
Right.
And then all of a sudden some hedge fund out of New York owns half of Shenandoah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Wow.
So we're using Babbel. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases, and with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
So. Oh, she's at. Never mind. My daughter has added me on Snapchat. My oldest. She's a freshman at SJA, and she's getting into all the social medias now. We've held it off for as long as possible. But we were trading snaps back and forth, and I accidentally deleted one without actually seeing it because I kind of suck at Snapchat.
Yeah, I do too.
It's okay.
And that's how your kids communicate to you now.
Absolutely. Right. Well, yeah, that and I'll tell her all the time, like, yeah, you can be on social media, but we have to be connected on that social media.
Yeah.
Snapchat's a different beast because everything is private and deleted, and I'm like, you make sure your shit's private and deleted. Like everywhere else, TikTok is the one she likes the best.
Yes.
Which I'm fine with.
Well,
like it's yeah. It's
videos.
The former U.S. attorney for the Middle District of Louisiana gave a talk. He's actually a basketball coach with me. I gave a talk at their school about the dangers of social media, and he let it off by saying the most dangerous social media outlet there is whatever one you're on.
Oh.
That's
what a great way to.
Yeah. Yeah,
Huh.
and then he started telling some real horror stories about.
I've had a couple of those meetings, and it's shocking. Some of the stories.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not good at this yet.
No,
I'm
not
there.
good at Snapchat. And my daughter is a sophomore at LSU, and it's always pictures and everything, stories on Snapchat.
Yeah.
And I could see him. She's like, "Oh, why can't you see him? You should be seeing everything." I don't know. You got to figure it out. You got to help me.
Well, yeah, I actually like the fact that they delete for the
Yes.
direct messages. That's anyway. .838 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. So we're counting you down to Thanksgiving, and after Thanksgiving is Black Friday. Black Friday brings about what has become a Baton Rouge tradition over at Ruffino's. Megan Klock is the director of operations at Ruffino's. She's going to join me in just a minute. I do first have to tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. Today is the second busiest day of the year on the roads. Sunday's the busiest. Do me a favor. Put a phone number in your phone right now. That number is 768-9898. 768-9898. Now, the reason you want this phone number in your phone is in the off chance that you get into an accident, you need to know where you're taking your car before the accident happens. If you wait until after the accident happens, you're worried, is everybody okay? You're assessing damage. There's a lot of moving parts that happen very quickly. You can have your insurance company tell you where they think you should go. That place is going to have a deal hammered out with the insurance company. Make no bones about it. The insurance company is the customer if you go where the insurance company tells you. You could have a tow truck pull up and have a suggestion with where you could take your car. Make no bones about it. That tow truck driver knows the people at the body shop. No, you want to go where you know they are certified by more than a dozen major car manufacturers. You want to go where you know they are certified. They have the iCar Gold Class certification. You want to know you're taking your car where your family is going to be back on the road safely. That's Complete Collision Center. 2 locations, Plank Road in Zachary and Perkins Road just east of Bluebonnet. Want to know more about the iCar Gold Class certification? Check out CompleteCollision.com. Again, 768-9898. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. All right. Somewhere over the past, I don't know how many years, it has become a tradition in Baton Rouge that on Black Friday, you think you're going to all the retail outlets. You think you're going to Perkins Row or the Mall of Louisiana or whatever. But swinging by Ruffino's for a gift card has become an absolute staple. Megan Klock is the director of operations over at Ruffino's. Welcome aboard, Megan. How are you?
Thank you. Good morning. Very good.
Glad to have you on this morning. We've been having problems with this mic, so you got to get right up on
Okay.
it. That's much
Handle
better.
that.
Yes, yes. Swinging by Ruffino's on Black Friday has kind of become a tradition, not just from a giving standpoint, but from a getting standpoint as well. Y'all have a ridiculous deal you offer up on Black Friday.
Yes, absolutely. Buy 100, get $50 free.
That's amazing. And yes, you when you talk those kind of numbers, you can honestly give the $50 as the gift.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying people do that, but people do that. Note to self: if you get a $50 gift card from Ruffino's from somebody, they're keeping 100, and that's fine. That's all fair game because this is the season where Thanksgiving is kind of the opening of the season where it's just celebratory from here through the end of the year, and that's kind of the mantra at Ruffino's.
Yes, absolutely. Celebrate life no matter the occasion.
Yes. Now, the gift card idea started what?
I think it was about 5 years ago it started.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, gift card sales have grown tremendously across the country.
Yes.
You know, over years. So it was just something fun that the founders of Ruffino's started, and it obviously has taken off because Ruffino's is a choice that people love to go visit, and you know, it's like you said, it's a staple in Baton Rouge.
It is a staple, and the gift card has been a staple as well. There's no limit on these, right?
No,
like
no
you can,
limit at
if
all.
I want to walk in and spend $1,000, then I'm getting
Absolutely.
$500 for free as well.
Absolutely. Great company Christmas presents.
We were talking during the break, and this has been a running theme throughout the show, is the inflation that has hit everywhere. Restaurants have seen roughly a 5% inflation, but you were telling me during the break, this has not affected menu prices.
No, absolutely not. Yes, commodities are difficult. Prices have increased. Crab meat, for example, 1 week we could be paying $30 a pound for crab meat. Next week it could be $51. And we have just decided to stick to who we are and not raise those prices. Rather, a little higher food cost and keep our customers happy with what they know and consistent. We're not, at this point, we are not passing along. But it's affecting everything. To-go supplies, fuel for
Anything that gets delivered in a truck is going to cost more because it costs more to fuel that truck. And that's just one example from across the board because every market out there or every industry out there is seeing labor shortages.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? How have y'all been doing throughout the pandemic? Y'all, I mean, it's such a family atmosphere in Ruffino's, and that, like, I would have to imagine that's not just atmosphere; it's real.
It absolutely is real. You know, we, on the flip side of this pandemic, we came out better than going into it. Yes, it was hard. Yes, being shut down in the restaurant industry, someone like Ruffino's, we weren't prepared. It wasn't our business to do to-goes or whatever. So when the lights turned off, we had to change our business.
Yeah.
And it was, what happened is we had a great team to begin with, but we created a camaraderie, a trust and belief in one another that we just really turned our business around and had amazing support from the community to get through the pandemic. But coming back, all our employees came back. Now recently, within the last 6 months, we've had some turnover more in the back of the house.
Okay.
Difficulties there, but people are coming to work and they love being at Ruffino's, and we're just really, like you said, it's a family atmosphere, taking care of one another, and just our team knows that we couldn't have gotten through this pandemic without them.
Yes.
So we celebrate that. But on the flip side, we are a better company than we were going into, which is kind of the blessing through this crazy time.
Those that have been able to pivot, those that have been able to adjust and shift on the fly, have learned through the pandemic that, yeah, you can be stronger on the back end.
Yeah.
But getting back to the front end, Ruffino's is an experience. You're not just getting fed. It's an experience. Now, I would imagine this was twofold. Number one, it hits you harder because while the food is fantastic, to go from Ruffino's, you lose the experience if it's just in a styrofoam container. But on the flip side, once we were re-released back into the wild, you have that craving.
Yes, absolutely. Now, the interesting thing is we are still sitting at 75% capacity, and I don't think we'll ever grow back to 100%.
Okay.
What we're finding is our customers are enjoying the experience. They're liking the space. Our servers are being able to provide a better experience, which, can you imagine that? So it's great. Yes, people are flooding indoors. We are still getting some people that are just going out for the first time, and they come in and they're so grateful we're there, and we take extra care of them. It's nice to see those familiar faces coming in.
I was going to say, for the first time ever, I can't imagine not knowing Ruffino's. I mean, if you've been here a week, you get a pass.
Okay, we'll give them a pass. You'd be surprised. We have a lot of new customers, which is nice to know that there's a group of people coming into the city and coming to Ruffino's for the first time and falling in love with it. So we can just continue this tradition that's been going on for over 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine as people move into town, there's a constant, I don't want to say a revolving door, but there is people, as people move here, they need to be introduced to you. Way out there on it's Highland Road. It is Highland Road, right?
It is Highland Road, yes.
Yeah, Highland Road. I always forget, it's right up from Healing Place. So,
Correct.
In between Healing Place and Blue Bayou is where you're going to find Ruffino's. Now, as far as gift cards are concerned on Friday, what are your hours, and is there a window with which people can get them?
We open we don't open, we're dinner only, but someone will for sure be there starting 8 o'clock in the morning, Friday. You can buy them all day until we close that night. You can certainly buy them online through our website at ruffinosrestaurant.com. Sky's the limit. Order as many as you want. They will be shipped if you purchase online. Large quantities, you have an option of shipping them or picking them up, whatever you would prefer. And then, come into the restaurant, have a cocktail, and get some gift cards.
Absolutely. Now, we got a couple minutes left with Megan Klock. She's the director of operations over at Ruffino's, and I don't want to bring it down, but I do want to celebrate life. We're coming up on the anniversary of losing a legend. The passing of Ruffin. How's it been over the last year, just soldiering on and carrying on what he was instrumental in creating with that atmosphere and that vibe?
I cannot believe it's been a year.
I know.
It's, I don't quite know how to put words to it. He was such a large personality, larger than life, loved, like, to have his arms wrap around me one more time and call me Meggers. That was my name. But, we all, we miss him terribly, but we're moving on, carrying on his legacy, and that's the goal and the mission, and that's what we're going to do, continue to make him proud.
Well, it was his charisma and his personality that brings that entire experience together over there, and the last time I was there about a month or two ago. 2 months ago. And the experience was exactly what I remembered from before the pandemic, and He does carry on. He does carry with him bigger than the rest of it. It's
Yes.
just I don't know.
And we get reminders all the time.
You should.
As silly as it may sound, he visits. When things happen, and we giggle and laugh, and I can hear him talking. On Thanksgiving Day, we are open at the Baton Rouge location, and we will be doing. Our pastry chef is doing a pumpkin cheesecake, and proceeds from that dessert sale are going to go to the Tiger Walk memorial that we're doing at LSU in honor of Ruffin Rodrigue. So it's exciting.
That is fantastic. Open. Okay. Well, swing on by tomorrow if you don't want if you don't want Nana's green bean casserole, you know where to go. And then of course Black Friday, you've got to take advantage of the deal on Black Friday. You buy $100, you get 50 to go along with it. In the meanwhile, thank you so much for hopping on board today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And just keep it up. I mean, the like I said, the experience is never changing, and it's fantastic.
Great. Thank you so much.
Megan Klock from Ruffino's. We got to take a quick break here in just a minute. Before we take that break, though, I do have to remind you, the staycation opportunity continues right now. Talk 107.3 is giving you a chance to enjoy a true Louisiana staycation on us at either the Renaissance or Watermark hotels. Simply, this is so easy, take our staycation survey at talk1073.com. And you will be instantly registered to win one of two staycations. We give away 2 a month, one on this show, one on the Jay Cody show. At the Renaissance, you will get a one-night stay with breakfast for 2 and dinner for 2 at Tallulah. Dane DeLatte won that one last month. Danielle Parrish won the one at the Watermark, where you get a one-night stay with valet and dinner for 2 at the Gregory. It's a staycation available at talk1073.com. So, Ruffino's Friday. Go get your gift cards. I mean, it's worth it just to keep it, for that matter. We're talking Thanksgiving after Your Money Now in Traffic. Next. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Hopping on board.
Absolutely. I appreciate
I didn't know how
it.
to approach that with me visiting Ruffin. I didn't think about it when I first called you. I just wanted to promote the thing, but it's like, damn, it's here.
I know. I did a podcast the other day with Jackie Russo in Lafayette, and she hit me. She said, today, 1 year ago, I was interviewing Ruffin for a podcast. I was like, okay, now you got me.
My favorite would be when he'd come in to record spots. That was basically, Gordy would text me. He's like, Ruffin's coming by. I'm like,
yeah.
It's always coming by an hour after I'm ready to leave. No,
right. Of course.
By and you instantly feel good as soon as he walks in the room. You instantly feel like you're the only person in the world as soon as he walks in the room. And one of, not the last time he was recorded, the second to last time he was recorded, he was trying to sing.
Oh.
Which he loved trying to sing.
Oh, yes. Love. Was this the Garth Brooks?
No. This was Ooh Child. So he sits down. It was right here. It's in this chair. He sits down, and I'm where Jake's at, and he does it once, and I'm like, Ruff, it's kind of flat, man.
Yeah.
It's like you're not. There's more to you than this. And he's like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, let's do it again. So we do it a second time. I'm like, I tell you what, stand up. Stand up.
Right.
Like, really, like, dive in. Like, I felt like the Christopher Walken More Cowbell sketch. I'm like, really, explore the space.
Right.
So I'm like, give it all of it. And finally, he's like, full blown, ooh, child. I was like, God, why did I not have the camera on for this? So, cut the spot. I start airing it. Gordy texts me. He's like, Brian, what the hell?
You got to reel him in sometimes.
I'm like, hey, no, I'm all in for this. No, I'm not reeling him in. I'm diving in with him.
Right.
So, yeah, that was, oh, God, so much fun.
2 years ago, he decided he wanted to put out a Christmas album. It makes me laugh. So we booked a studio over across the street from the restaurant, had musicians. It was so cool. But him being in that recording booth, he would look back at me. He was the biggest kid. He loved it. And he would wail, and I'd go, oh, dear Lord, we're really doing a Christmas album. But the musicians loved it.
Yeah.
They just thought he was crazy.
Well,
you know?
I mean, so definitely a showman.
Oh, definitely a showman.
That's really the only way to put it. Definitely a showman. Yes. But yeah, Christmas album. Funny enough, we're going to be teaming up with Opera Louisiane again this year, and the legend of Ruffin comes up again because he did Bohemian Rhapsody.
I know.
So Jade Cody our afternoon drive
Right.
host did Bohemian Rhapsody. Ruffin did it the next year, and it's like retire it.
Right.
It
And
was
he
so
was funny.
over the top, legendary with it.
When
They're
he
like,
came out dressed,
yeah.
Oh my Lord, he was a riot. So funny, great guy. I miss him desperately.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to beat him several times also.
Oh, but that's
because
part
he
of
was
it.
that was part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
That was part of it.
He wouldn't be so lovable if he couldn't evoke that kind of emotion.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
Yeah.
I love when people tell stories about him when he was working for Mockler Beverage, and he would go and set up displays in grocery stores and stuff. And if there was a Coors Light display, he would tackle it. Can't you see him going in? And
Yeah. Like a bad scene from Impractical Jokers.
Right, exactly.
Oh, goodness gracious. I'd never heard that before. That's awesome.
Oh, isn't that great?
So much fun.
That's great. So, all right. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it.
No, my absolute pleasure.
And,
That's
we love you guys, so y'all take very good care of us.
it's mutual. Absolutely.
Good. Thank you.
Good to hear.
Well, I hope you have a very blessed Thanksgiving.
You do the same.
This line.
Sugarfield?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're not far from y'all. They're over in Gonzales.
They just came out with a fig.
I haven't had their bourbon yet.
Oh, okay. It's good.
So they sponsor Jay's show. So they'll come on every so often. I need to beg them for the bourbon. Well, I was begging them for the vodka, which was really good.
Yeah. The gin's very good. Are you a gin drinker?
I'm not a gin drinker.
It's real crisp.
Okay.
But the bourbon is, and they've a spiced. It's.
I'm amazed with what we're doing locally with distilling. You know who's really in my wheelhouse right now, and I'm gonna go get their new whiskey next week, is JT Mellick.
I have not had.
So, 100-year-long rice farm, 100-year rice manufacturers. Every year they got leftover rice. They're like, what do we do with all this rice? Let's make vodka. And it's fantastic.
Oh, good.
It's crisp. It's clean. It's affordable. $20, $21 pricing point.
Oh.
So now they've got a whiskey coming out, and they're like, nobody makes a rice whiskey. I was like, well, no, outside of Japan, no. I mean, you get that Toki, Suntory or whatever, but so it's coming out.
Cool.
It's supposed to be.
I love all the local stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Oh, 3-Roll right down the street.
Yes.
3-Roll's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been great.
Very,
All right, guys,
yeah.
Thank y'all so much.
No, thank you. Good luck on Friday. I know it's.
Crazy.
It will. It will.
All right, we'll see y'all later.
Thanks, Megan. Why did I brain fart the name Highland Road? Well, it goes the width of the city, but so does Perkins, and you get off at the Highland Perkins exit to go. Do what? 8:56, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, one segment to go before we're done for the week. There will be a CBS special on in this time slot tomorrow morning. CBS Gil Gross's Thanksgiving special, and then Friday will be a best of. Why did I brain fart on Highland Road? You get off at the Highland Perkins exit, and I'm asking myself, is that Perkins? No, it's Highland. For the location of Rufino's. You're going to want to swing by on Friday. Look, it's basically buy one, get a half of one, right? Anyway, it's become a Baton Rouge tradition, and it carries on this Friday. All right, before we get out of here, I've been talking about it all morning long, on and off. We don't see enough Thanksgiving television in the world. There is the undisputed champion of Thanksgiving television. That is a scene from WKRP in Cincinnati, which, you know what, I'm not even going to try to set it up. Let's just go ahead and hear how, as God is my witness, I swear turkeys could fly became a thing.
I can't tell just yet what they are, but... Oh, my God, they're turkeys! Oh, Johnny, can you get this? Oh, they're crashing to the earth right in front of our eyes! One just went through the windshield of a parked car! Johnny, this is terrible. The cars running around pushing each other? Oh, my goodness! Oh, the humanity! Oh, people are running about. The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement. See, folks, I I don't know how much longer the crowd is running for their lives. I think I'm going to step inside. I can't stay out here and watch this any longer. No, I can't go in there. Children are searching for their mothers, and not since the Hindenburg tragedy has there been anything like this. I don't know how much longer I can hold my position here, Johnny. The crowd.
Les, are you there? Les isn't there. Thanks for that on-the-spot report, Les. For those of you who just tuned in, the Pinedale Shopping Mall has just been bombed with live turkey. Film at 11.
That, of course, the on-scene report from Les Nessman kicking back into Johnny Fever. It goes on from there, but due to time constraints, I'm going to have to call it. Yes, the ultimate punchline from that was the station manager saying, as God is my witness, the man who put on the promotion in the first place, as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Was asking for some other iconic Thanksgiving moments on TV. On Friends, the Thanksgiving episode of Friends, where Monica actually ends up with the turkey on top of her head. That is one. And then there is from The West Wing, the Butterball Hotline.
Hello, welcome to the Butterball Hotline.
What the hell is this?
Hello?
How can I help you, sir?
Well, first let me say, I think this is a wonderful service you provide.
Well, thank you. May I have your name, please?
I'm a citizen.
I'm sure you are, sir, but if I have your name, I can put your comments in our customer feedback form.
I'm Joe Bethersonton. That's one T and with an H in there.
And your address?
Fargo.
Your street address, please?
Zip code, Fargo.
We're going to run out of time. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you Monday. I needed a longer segment for that. If you have not seen the Butterball Hotline episode of the, which one is it? It's either the Indians in the Lobby. I'll get you an actual episode, YouTube. Let's see. I think it's the Indians in the Lobby. Butterball Hotline West Wing episode. The Indians in the Lobby. God. I know way too much West Wing. All right. Yes, it's The Indians in the Lobby is the name of the episode. It is a fantastic episode from one of the best TV series in the history of time. Go check it out. It's a tradition in the Haldane house to watch that episode the night before Thanksgiving, so yay. Other than that, we will see you on Monday. Have a great Thanksgiving weekend.